by us exploiting animals, the animals don't benefit. Would you agree with that statement?
No.
Do you think they benefit from us eating them?
In some sense, they don't.
In some sense, they don't.
No, they don't.
Why do you have a difficulty in admitting that animals are victims, humans are assholes to animals?
Human has rights. Animals don't. I have a cow. I give her good quality food, and in exchange of it, I take her milk. In order to grow a plant, you are killing the sentient beings, and I just mentioned the number. They are 25 times more.
We cannot actually make an argument saying that insects are sentient. How can I right now, Shivang, fight for ducks that are being shot and killed or bees that are being executed when people are intentionally willing to harm bees for honey which they don't need to survive? When they're intentionally willing to shoot and eat ducks because grilled ducks taste good.
Interested in going vegan? Watch Arvind's full guide to being vegan in India.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Face to Face with Arvind. And in today's episode, we have another guest from the general public, Shivang Sharma, who happens to be a third-year student of law. Welcome to the show, bro.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me, Arvind. And as I want to introduce briefly myself to the participants, my name is Shivang Sharma, and I happen to be a third-year law student, and I am currently based in New Delhi. And as per my debating history, I have been a gold medalist in various competitions across Delhi University, IP universities, NSUT as well. And today I am here to just do a deliberation on the topic of veganism. And I want to know that if vegan does make sense in the dietary consumption or not. So that goes for my introduction.
Awesome. Glad to hear. And very honored to have someone with a lot of debating experience. As you can see, you have a lot of battle skill in this field.
It wouldn't be hyperbole to say so.
Okay, fair enough. So, I just want to ask you, like, how did you first of all come to know about my whole I'm doing a podcast? You saw the video online, then you contacted me. Like, why did you choose to come over?
So I happen to be an omnivore since childhood, and my parents aren't. They are strictly vegetarians.
Okay.
And I also had some disputes in my home as well that they did not allow me to eat meat and stuff, especially my grandparents. But my parents were allowed me to eat because they believed in the free will.
All right.
So pertaining to that, when I was in 8th standard and I saw some videos on YouTube where cows were being slaughtered, and I felt very, very bad seeing them. Then I stopped eating meat for around 6 months. But then when I delved deep down into the research, then I saw that we as humans are involving or are indulging in some sort of cruelty, and we cannot live without it. We cannot thrive without it. So then I started eating again. And then I saw one of your videos on YouTube. It just popped up. I never subscribed
Which year was this? Like
1.5 years ago from now.
In 2023 probably you saw.
Yeah. So briefly, I was very, very impressed by your points. But when I delved deep down into it, then I saw that certain arguments can be refuted. And then there was a video that popped up on my Insta page, and I saw that you were inviting people for the debate. And I never commented on your any of your videos or accused you of anything, of hypocrisy or anything, because I believe in one-to-one talk.
Yeah, fair enough.
And you gave me the opportunity to do that. So yeah, that's how I mailed you. I did not expect a response from your end, but you did. So that's a privilege to be here today. So that's the reason I am present.
Thanks, man. Just to let the audience know, I responded to every single email I got. I made sure I got on a call with every single person who emailed me. And then based on that, I had to shortlist down to a bunch of people. And since you said you had so much debate experience and you were able to properly and eloquently explain about yourself well, I was like, you know what, this guy fits the bill perfectly, which is why I definitely wanted to have you on the podcast. So for kicking things off, would you want to start with some pointers from your side, or would you like for me to start? How would you prefer?
I'd like you to start first.
Okay, so the proposition that I'm putting forward is that I am saying veganism is a moral obligation. That is, if we are to make the statement that animals have any kind of moral value, that if we were to assign moral value to animals, veganism becomes a moral obligation. And the reason I'm saying they have moral value is because just as an extension of human rights, we say that a human has the right to eat, a human has the right to education, a human has the right to live free without bodily harm, all these things, based on the fact that we say this human intrinsically has those values. Since you're a law student, I'm so happy I'm talking to a law student, by the way. We intrinsically have those values because we have this pursuit of happiness within us. We have this desire to live free, not be slaves. So therefore, we honor those traits that we find in humans and extend them as moral obligations towards our fellow humans. My argument is that many of these similar traits are also found in our fellow animals, yet we treat them as commodities. We treat them as objects and we do whatever we want with their bodies and their lives, and we literally control them. I am calling that out as immoral, and as a stance against that, I am saying that we should all be vegan. That is my basic...
So that's the opening statement.
That's where I'm coming from. That's where I come from, yeah.
Okay. So let me start with the morality perspective. All this nutritional POV, carbon footprint that the vegans give comes... to defend the premise. So first of all, when we talk about morality, to me, morality is quite very subjective. We all have our own definitions pertaining to morality. And I'd like to quote Friedrich Nietzsche. He gave one quote that if you crush a cockroach, then you are a hero. But if you crush a butterfly, then you are a hero. A villain. A villain. So that quote literally explains what morality is. It is the... some sort of morality has aesthetic criteria, right? So when you say that we are more morally superior and it is a moral obligation on us to save the animals, and I'm not saying that you kill the plants, that would be a foolish statement to make from my end. I'm just saying what goes into the process of growing the plants. See, 3.5% of the land is only agriculturally viable where you can farm, right? So in order to find that farm, you will not only desert the animals in order to grow your farm, but you will eventually kill them. And what about the pesticides and insecticides that go into it? See, the basic proposition is we should not harm the sentient beings. Insects are also sentient. Small organisms are also sentient. The frog, the snakes, even the hummingbirds that come as pests. So that would be my opening counter argument to this. And secondly, I also say this to chicken lovers who were just protesting on the streets of Delhi, disparaging the Supreme Court's judgment of removal of dogs, if you are aware.
I'm aware.
So they were protesting. Why were they protesting? Even after they eat chicken. This is a hypocrisy because they find dogs to be more cute, right? So it depends on the aesthetic criteria. Like, even I have a dog, but I cannot kill it because it is a part of my family. But I find no moral obligation to stop eating meat because at the end, we all are indulging ourselves in some sort of cruelty. That's how Homo sapiens thrive. That's the basic concept of survival of the fittest given by Charles Darwin. So that would be my statement.
Fair enough. So you have raised quite a few points. I've made note of a few which I'd like to address. One of them, what you spoke about, was the aesthetic, how we are biased towards some species and not towards others. You also said that vegans, I'm quoting you here on this because I did write it down, vegans want to save the animals and they do not want to harm those that are sentient. So first of all, I reject those two statements. The reason being is because from the definition of veganism, it's not about saving animals and it's not about not harming animals. So if I have to, first of all, give a framework within which we can work, and if what I then say after I say the framework doesn't fit inside, please point it out, and that will be hypocrisy for sure, right?
Okay.
And the framework that we vegans say to define veganism is that veganism is a philosophy where we acknowledge the fact that animals are not inferior to us human beings and that they are sentient, meaning they're capable of a subjective awareness in this world and they're capable of feeling pain and suffering. And therefore, we humans should not exploit them. I repeat, we humans should not exploit them. I'm not talking about saving animals. I'm not even making the statement we should not kill animals. In fact, there are plenty of scenarios where we should be killing animals. Okay, the vegan is saying that. But we have no right or necessity, or we should create a society in which there is no necessity for us to exploit them. That is the first statement I would like to make. And you did make a statement saying that at the end of the day, be it a vegan or a non-vegan, we all are engaging in some form of violence towards animals. So as within the framework I stated, we might be engaging in some form of violence towards animals, but I don't know if that will necessarily fall under the framework of whether we are exploiting animals, number one. And the second counter argument I'd like to put is that when you say, well, either way, we all are doing this either way, wouldn't that be a logical fallacy that forms as a tu quoque fallacy, right? That's a logical fallacy of saying that we were both in court right now and the judge is saying, well, Arvind, I condemn you of murder, but Your Honor, Shivang's a murderer too. Doesn't work. Then both need to be punished. So that statement itself saying that we all are doing doesn't necessarily add value to the conversation is what I'm saying. Would you agree with these statements?
I'd like to counter on various facets. So just as the example you gave that Shivang is also a murderer, then it won't make any sense. So this is a false equivalence, I may say.
Okay.
Why? Because see, we are talking about animals here and we are talking about some social utility that animals create in our lives, right? So when we talk about animals and when I talk about vegan activists per se, see, I am non-vegetarian, I eat meat, but I never force someone or I never put a moral obligation on someone to go with non-veg just because I eat it, just because I think it is more nutritionally viable. But I've seen vegans doing that.
We do.
So there is a problem. There is a problem. That's what I wanted to point out. I wanted to expose the hypocrisy out of the statement. If you are alleging us, if you are making an allegation that I am indulging in animal cruelty, you are also indulging in where you say that no, we do not do animal cruelty. I have seen various videos pertaining to this, where you just made a statement right now that I'm not saying that cruelty shouldn't happen. Some sort of killings have to be done. But during the course of my preparation through all this, I have seen various vegan activists and even some of your videos where you have said that no, we indulge in harm, but that is quite comparatively lesser than what animal husbandry does or animal farming does.
If that is the only argument I have given, then that argument would be wrong. If that is the only substantiative argument I've given, then I will admit that will be wrong of me to say. But if I can add more to it, then we have to go piece by piece, obviously, for which argument you are mentioning. We will get to that. But I guess one thing I should have noted that down in the beginning, you started by saying that it's a false equivalence, you said, that comparison. But when you made a statement saying that, why?
And I have one more point to refute. When you said that in the opening statement that we humans also have rights, so animals should also have rights because they come into the same framework. You did make an opening statement regarding
I did say that, yes.
So I also happen to be a student of political science, right? So there is a social contract theory that is given by the humans to the society, and that means you have a right and I have a duty to protect that right. And animals are not a part of this contract.
They're not,
so we cannot consider within the same framework. Comparing the human rights to the animal rights would be a false equivalence in my sense and in the law sense as well.
But yeah, it might be in the law sense, but then we cannot necessarily say that because something is legal that it therefore is definitively right, because that will be an appeal to legality fallacy. But you can argue saying that within the current framework, what I'm saying does not fit. That's a fair argument I would agree upon. But when you do ask the question like, why do you vegans go out of your way to not just be a vegan, but then come to us and tell us, no, you should be a vegan too. It's a moral obligation. But you do realize that the reason we are saying it is the equivalent of somebody else saying that, hey, listen, my friend, if you don't want to abuse children, all fine by me. But you should not tell me not to abuse children. If you don't want to beat your wife, fine by you. But you shouldn't tell me not to engage in domestic violence. We are coming forward and putting forth these arguments and trying to convince people to be vegan because people are engaging in needless violence towards animals. In areas where clearly we already have found solutions for these things can be stopped. Of course, can I stop everything? No, but where I know for a fact we can stop it, for sure, we have the alternatives, we have everything on hand right now, people still choose to indulge in that violence because it tastes good or because it's a part of their culture or habit. So those reasons start becoming, the reason, first of all, we go out of our way to condemn the actions is because there is needless violence happening there. That's my argument.
So what is the needless violence you are catering to, or what is the alternative you are catering to, and what sort of thing you are saying that for this thing we have this alternative?
Fair enough. If we were to talk purely only from the food perspective right now, the animals being exploited for food, there is cows, chickens, pigs, fish, goats, duck, sheep, turkeys, these animals. We eat meat because they are high in protein. And it's high in B vitamins. The main reason for consuming milk, why it's touted as being healthy, is because it's very high in calcium. Not to mention, you also find other nutrients like vitamin D and vitamin like B12, like B vitamins, plenty in animal-based food. No arguing that. And if a vegan does not plan their diet properly, taking these things in, because it's not just about not eating. Like if I just choose to now take the meat and dairy off my plate and just eat what's remaining, I'm going to end up being deficient real soon. But what if we have other things we can replace that with right now? They may not be as tasty, mind you. And they won't be as tasty. But they can still get you high quality protein, high quality calcium, and your B vitamins and still fit your budget. The sense that my argument is if someone has 100 to 120 rupees a day right now in India, they can be a vegan. They to spend for food, they can definitely eat a plant-based diet. That is my argument.
Okay, so we'll come to the socio-economic sphere that we live in regarding the affordability. But I don't think any of the plant-based food comes closer to the animal-based diet regarding nutrition. Like even if you talk about soy, even if you talk about let's say lentils or even dal chawal as the staple diet, it doesn't even come close to one serving of chicken on my plate. Plus, when you say so that you have an alternative, on what basis are you saying this? Does this you are making this statement because you think that less animals are killed, the less cruelties happen? Am I correct?
No. Like I said in the beginning, the framework I said is not that less animals are killed. It is that veganism is a philosophy where we do not exploit animals. Animals are not being exploited to.
Okay, so if I have a ranching family and the cow has become very, very old or the chicken has been very, very old and it's not viable, so would be it humane to kill it for my consumption?
No, definitely not, because you are violating the rights of that animal.
So
with the intent to do that, yeah.
Okay, so there is a study given by, like I have the source as well, given by WHO and the US Agricultural Department and the UK Agricultural Department as well. The plant-based farming kills 25 times more sentient beings than the animal industry farming does. So there is a sheer breach of numbers that we see in the agricultural based farming. So killing an animal is cruelty, I agree. Right. There is no humane way to kill an animal.
Which is why I was very specific in my first statement where I said that in some areas animals have to be killed. We can't just... cruelty is something we can say, I guess. But I'd like to say is it a necessity or not? Like I say, for example, a dog is attacking you right now. You have all the right to defend yourself in any way you want to. I am completely for that, because even if a human attacks you, you have the right to defend yourself. But when someone does not attack you or try to in any way destroy your life, why go out of our way to harm them is my question.
Okay. So, just as I mentioned in the opening statement, that in order to grow a plant, you need to go to a farm, right? And then you are killing the sentient beings, and I just mentioned the number, they are 25 times more. Plus, on what basis are you saying that there is an alternative, there is a good alternative? On what basis? Can you tell me the nutritional criteria?
First of all, when it comes to the alternative, what I'm talking about, I'm talking about from a nutritional perspective. That's what I mean. And of course, I've also brought some things. Like, would you like to see them right now? If you want, just like a few charts I have with me just to talk to you. You want to go into nutrition right now, or you want to speak on the philosophy first? Which would you prefer?
Let's go for philosophy first.
Okay, fine. So when you mentioned right now the study you have with you that shows that there is 25 times, you said?
More 25 times.
As opposed to, say, killing an animal for meat. Is that the argument? Am I right to understand?
See, at the end, you are killing the animal. That you are killing a sentient being to fulfill your demands. Nutrition is your demand. Eating food is your demand.
But no, I'm not trying to put any kind of blame here. I'm just trying to get an understanding of the concept. You are saying that the vegan, in order to grow his crop, say corn or soy or whatever it is, has a particular amount of insects or worms or rats or whatever he has to kill in order to... On an average, we have to... This is what number we have. And as the one we're comparing this to is the singular cow or chicken or pig who's being killed in the slaughterhouse. Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
You are right. Okay, fine. But do you not believe that there is a missing link here? That is, we are failing to take into consideration the number of plants that have to be fed to the animal to first fatten them up to market weight and then be killed. Because if you were to take into calorie conversion, we cannot just look at meat provides you maybe some macronutrient, but so much amount of calories. But the animal, like a cow or a pig or a chicken also, has to eat far more amount of plant foods and then convert that as flesh into their body. So I don't know the exact numbers in conversion on this, but would you agree with the statement that far more kilograms and calories of plant food have to be converted to go into the next level of the food web, which is an animal, and then when we kill and eat that animal, we get less amount of calories in return, because the calories are slowly being, like, if I
fed up to the animal.
Yeah, because if I were to right now eat you have built this body eating we don't know how many animals, but we don't know how many plants those animals that you ate were eating. So the higher up I eat on the food chain, when you eat lower on the food chain, you just get directly from there. But here, you have to convert from this level to that trophic level. You're following me on this?
Yeah.
So, are you including this as well in your study?
So I did a research on this. So the fodder that is being given to the animals is a waste product. 85 to 90% of that is a waste product, and that is of no social utility or no nutritional viability to the human beings. So whatever they are eating is just a waste product, and it has to be consumed by someone to save the environment. That would be my counter argument to that.
So I would argue that it doesn't necessarily, I'm not too sure on this, so I don't want to make an affirmative statement. We don't have to ensure that an animal consumes that, because right now when we have animal agriculture, we do get manure, which we use sometimes for this kind of fertilizer. I forgot the exact word. We take all of this waste products of the plants we cannot consume, we bury them underground and compost.
Yeah.
We can compost them to create more fresh nutrients to grow further plants. I'm just saying that they could be used in other ways as well. It's not like when you made a statement saying that we would have to feed them to animals, I don't necessarily agree upon that statement. But the fact that again, so you first quoted an American study, and also did you right now say that when you are saying that 85% of it is
No,
residual,
I did not quote an American study related to the fodder thing.
The fodder was an Indian-based one.
Yeah, it is a combined study of US, UK, Australia, and India. 4 countries.
And India, we've included in that as well. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Please
Because we have
send me
agriculture-
via email, so I'll put it on screen in the editing process. Yeah.
Actually, I read 2 to 3 books, and I remember the name of one book that was The Plant-Based Corn. So there, the author has taken many citations and from many sources. So I can mail you the sources. I have them right now. I'll email them as well.
Sure, please do. So, because I want to make sure that whenever if I make a statement or something, if you make and you have reference studies, it's best to put them on screen so the audience can see it and they can decide whether they want to read it or not. So my argument here is that, but regardless right now, if you are growing animals, that animal has to eat. Without feeding the animal, you're not going to make the animal get fatter and then eat their flesh. For which you will have to either way also, like you are saying, we get crops that are either way being cultivated for human purpose. But you are aware, if you were to take into now the study about America and Europe as well, where beef consumption is at an all-time high, you are aware of the fact that they are clearing acres of forest in the Amazon in order to grow soybeans that is then used as feed for the animals. You realize that the vast majority of soy grown on earth is not eaten by humans, right?
I'm aware of that.
The vast majority of it is used as animal feed. Even right now here in India, if we look at the feed that's being given to animals, like we are pretty much following the Western trend. So when you give me a number right now saying that there is this much % of it is already from crops that are either way going to be planted for human consumption, I do not know what to say to that because I do not necessarily have much knowledge on that. My argument primarily is this here. You will have to feed the animal. So if you are saying we cost 25 times more, again I ask, is that 25 times more than the crop that is being fed to the animal and the animal being killed, or only the animal being killed? That's the distinction I want here. Like,
I am not particularly sure about that, but it's mostly regarding what humans consume. See, I just made a statement that the animals, the feeding animals, they are fed with fodder. The fodder, like we call bhusa in Hindi. So that is a waste product. We humans do not consume it. That is not based on soy. That is not based on any of the farming.
Yeah, but then we also cultivate green grass to graze these animals. We also cultivate various other, like I have friends who run these sanctuaries where they have so many of these animals. They do have to pay for all this grass and peanut cake and all these other things to be brought in because, for example, when they grind up for peanut oil, the waste of that is then taken and fed to the animals. But my point is this: if we were to right now go into crop deaths, and can we call it as crop deaths? What's happening right now? We're talking about this. Yeah, I would, since you're a law student, please let me know whether what the next statement I'm about to make is sensible or not. Because this is the usual argument I present to people.
Okay.
I would like to distinguish if you want to call the killing of animals that we do into 3 different segments. Segment number 1, and I want to first explain all of these in detail in the human concept and then extrapolate that to the animal concept because it will first be easy to understand when done in a human concept. Number 1 is person number A is killing person number B. And this person is doing it with the intent to kill this individual. We'd call that as homicide or first degree murder.
There is a mens rea. Mens rea is like a guilty mind. You have a guilty intention to kill someone.
Premeditation, right?
Yeah.
Basically premeditated murder.
You can say that.
So that is one. That is premeditated. We have number one. Number two is, let's say, for example, person number A is driving on the road. He's just driving properly. Person number B apparently happens to be drunk, inebriated, just walking around, not caring about the surroundings, and boom, he crashes and person A kills person B. Person A is not as culpable in this scenario as person A was in the first scenario. Would you agree? Based on the
I agree.
And that is because this was not done with the intent to kill. This was done because, this was an accident. And in this world, we can only try to reduce accidents as much as we can by being careful. We cannot necessarily eliminate them because that's why they're called accidents. Yeah. The final would be being part of a system where if we escape from this particular system right now, the system is messed up and we are a part of it. But if we escape from it, we will die. We have no choice. We are born into it. We have no choice but to be a part of it. And we have to be within this system while trying to find changes to it and make it better. Okay, I'll give an example to you. All of us in this country have to pay taxes. That we can avoid that. Now, we do not know exactly where or what our taxpayer money is being used for. Say, for example, someone could take the taxpayer money, pay it for a police officer's, salary. He is doing some horrible things, misusing his powers. We read about all this stuff on the internet, right? On the news. We also know that India is a member of the United Nations. We have to pay a particular percentage of millions of dollars every single year as being a member there. UN might use that money and they do peacekeeping missions in the world, which involves going to places and shooting and killing people. Just the money that Shivang and Arvind are paying to the government is being used there. Now that, I don't think now calling Shivang a first degree murderer for paying his taxes, it would be a fair argument. He is a part of a system. He may agree to certain things happening in the system. He may disagree to certain things happening in the system. But just because he cannot, because you cannot suddenly be like, you know what, I'm going to stop paying taxes from tomorrow. You can't live like that. You have to. Anything you purchase, apart from the air we breathe, everything is taxed. So you have to still be a part of this messed up system, even if you don't like it, and then try to find ways to form reforms and change it to make it better.
Yes, sure.
Now, if we were to extrapolate all these three, if you first of all agree that these three are like valid distinctions I'm making in terms of human rights, okay. If we were to extrapolate this right now onto animal rights, I am saying that the meat, dairy and egg industries, leather, wool and silk, exploitation of animals in the name of pets, zoos and circuses, or name of religion, culture, blah, 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 all that stuff falls under the first category. First degree murder done with the intent to kill.
Okay.
Now, when you talk about animals that are, say, 25 times higher number of deaths you see in these agricultural fields, I want to make a distinction here. Some of them, or many of them, are accidents.
Okay.
We don't do it with intention. It just so happens to happen because because if you compare it, for example, if there is a rat or a bird when a harvester is coming through, they can feel the vibrations, they can hear it coming, they can choose to pretty much
the tractor just
moves through. Yeah,
okay.
I have seen once a combine harvester. Somebody in America showed like he just literally laid on the ground. Have you seen the video? And the harvester just goes right over him.
No, I'm not
like
aware.
he's like, look at me in America. I saw.
Okay.
It was a very huge machine. So he just lays on the ground. It still harvests all the crops around him, and he is not harmed at all. Like they are huge machines they use there. So my point is that, but then again, accidents might occur. As I stated earlier, an accident and a homicide is not at all the same.
Okay.
And final thing is, you might point out, well, Arvind, what about the fact that you intentionally spray pesticides?
That was the counter argument that was coming.
Spray rodenticides to kill these animals. Well, Shivang, my counter argument to that would be, I understand, but like I said, if I do not do that, these individuals will come and they will eat the food and then I will starve and I will die. Right. This is now becoming a battle for survival. So in that regard, I am defending myself. However, I still feel that we are killing them like in the, like, what do you call, like if this could also be reduced, it should be reduced. But I cannot implement changes for that to happen when already people don't care about cows and chickens and pigs and fish, that the animals that they intentionally kill. They're already like, screw those animals. Oh no, look at the insects and the rats. They'll be like, really, bro? Really, the insects and the rats? It's not going to work. Now, however, I will acknowledge that. And if we were to live in a vegan world, we vegans will definitely try to make use of other technology and methods to even try to avoid those as much as possible. But right now, Shivang, I'm stuck in the system. If I want to not be a part of that, I'll have to start starving from today. Just like how you'll have to stop paying taxes. You know? So I'm saying let's stop the first degree. First of all, do you agree with this classification of mine? And I'm dividing it into these 3 groups. Would that be a logical classification?
Logical classification.
Okay. So
but I have to refute some points.
Please, by all means, please.
So you just gave a counter argument to my counter argument that I'm spraying pesticides just to kill because they eat my feed, etc. So by that logic, if I leave chickens alone on the ground, on the field, on the open field, what is the primary source of food for a chicken? Do you know?
Should be worms.
Earthworm. And earthworm is a natural fertilizer for the fields. So in that sense, I am also preserving the environment while killing the chicken for my consumption, and it is a symbiotic relationship that I am creating.
Yeah, but you have to wait. So
I'll give you a study. I'll use the paper.
No, I'm the argument you gave right now. I'm just trying to figure out the exact logic that's in it. You are you exist. You are rearing.
See, you
crops.
gave me an argument. You gave me an argument. If I do not kill the insects or the organisms living there, then they'll feed on my plant and they'll just contaminate it. Right? That's what you meant.
Yes. When it comes to rats and cockroaches, yes, that's what I mean.
So
and lizards,
in that sense, I am also consuming the chicken or the chicken because if I lose them free, they'll eat your natural fertilizer, that is worms. So in that sense, I am also alleviating some sort of harm that is being caused to your crops.
No. That's a difference. Yes. First of all, the chickens that you eat are not the ones you understand the chickens right now. All the domesticated animals we eat, be it cows and buffaloes and chickens and goats, none of these animals actually exist because their ancestors decided to reproduce and just give birth to them. We humans have completely controlled the entire reproductive cycle of all these animals, and we do something called as breeding. Yeah.
So through that, I wanted to say that you want these animals to be free from breeding, right?
To be free from breeding, yes, I want them.
Like they want to. You want to have their free will to whom they want to breed with, to whom they want to roam.
Actually, no, that is not what I'm demanding for. You might be shocked on this. If we all become vegan, these animals will become extinct. They will no longer exist. And that is the world I want. I want to just remove these certain species that we're exploiting and just vanish them from a Thanos snap like that. Yeah.
So you want them to be extinct?
Yes. I would prefer them to be extinct. Yes, I prefer that. Of course, not that they have to be. Let's say, for example, the world does become vegan. We have a small amount of chickens left. I guess say a few hundred as opposed to the 50 billion we have right now. I mean, a few hundred can be accommodated in like a small shelter in a sanctuary. If they want to reproduce among themselves, they can. Or they don't need to. If again the population gets too high, like how we do with dogs and cats, we can neuter them. But they'll have the right to their bodily integrity and they'll just be roaming around there. That's it.
Okay, so that's the point of argument that you're making.
Yeah.
And I'd like to refute one of your more arguments that the tractor is coming and it just goes over the bird without seeing it. So it is unintentional. It is not intentional. So to that, I just reiterate my opening statement that I gave, that in order to grow a farm, you need to clear a vast area of forest, right? What is the fault of those organisms who live there?
There is no fault. It unfortunately falls under a struggle to survive at that point.
So struggle to survive, like your point was, if I do not kill them, they'll eat my crops, they'll harm my plants. But when you are growing a field, what about the pre-existing organisms that are already living there? You are deserting them. You are killing them. You are also killing them.
You are killing them.
Then what is your defense to this? Because they are not harming your plants.
They aren't harming the plants, I agree. But then if I do not go forward and do it there, I also cannot cultivate crops which will eventually lead to my demise, right? If I do not cultivate, how can I get food?
Right. So again, it comes to the nutritional POV. We are again and again going back and forth to the nutritional POV. If you are growing plants, if you are thriving on a plant-based diet again and again, then there shall be certain sort of deformities in your body as well, which plant-based diet cannot fulfill.
So we'll come to the nutritional arguments.
In order to thrive as Homo sapiens, we need to make an ecological balance. We cannot just rely on a vegan diet. Right.
You honestly believe that a plant-based diet will not be suitable for optimal health?
Yeah, I
You
do
don't
not
believe?
think
Okay, fine, fair enough.
See, it basically
But no,
comes
before we
on
go
the...
to the nutrition, I thought since you made an argument regarding the fact that I wanted to make a distinction again there.
So see, I just wanted to say, and I just wanted to reiterate that if you are saying some certain set of organism is harming your plants, that's why it's your necessity to kill them, then I'm also saying that just as I said, morality is very, very subjective. To you, it is not it is very, very moral to not kill big animals like chicken, like.
But that's not my argument. But go on. That's not my argument.
Okay.
But go on.
Okay. So let's take it for one moment. We are not killing those animals or unnecessarily. You are saying that we unnecessarily kill animals even if we have alternatives. Right.
We're exploiting animals. We're commodifying them. That I want to make.
You're against the killing of beef, like meat, killing of organisms for food consumption, right?
I'm against the commodification of animals. I cannot, for example, like tomorrow, let's say if someone drives on the road and by accident they kill a dog, I'm not saying I'm against driving of vehicles right now. Like, you know.
No, that is unintentional. That is unintentional.
Okay.
Like when you are spraying insecticides, pesticides, you're intentionally killing them, but you gave a counter argument to that.
Yes.
But to me, taste is also a luxury. Nutrition is also a luxury to so many people. If you go to Haryana, people thrive on doodh, dahi, ghee, etc. It's a necessity for them. They cannot thrive on a vegan diet. I have never seen any military of any world thriving on a vegan diet and going to battlefield and
as controversial as this might seem, did you know that 10% of the Israeli military is vegan? Or 10% exact, I don't know exact percentage, but a huge percentage of the Israeli military. I don't know what their current opinion is on the current geopolitical issues.
They are not vegans, they are vegetarians.
They're vegans.
They consume dairy products.
No, you're wrong, Shivang. They are vegans. I'm telling you. The vegan.
I'll see the source where I've read
Please
it.
do that. You can search how Tel Aviv, which is one of the cities in Israel, is one of the most. It used to be. Right now, I don't know what's going on in the area. Obviously,
Let's not go.
Yes,
there.
let's not go there. But let's just say, before a couple of years ago, it was one of the, if not the most vegan-friendly nations on the planet, because there was an activist from America, vegan. He went to Israel and he gave lots of speeches and talks and basically I've been copying his work in India. Basically, to be honest, that's what I've been doing. And his work actually inspired like a huge chunk. Like I mean, like the population is only like I don't know what, like 2 million or 8 million something. It's a very less population. But even among that, like there are lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of vegans in Israel. And many of the military members are vegan. They wear vegan boots. They wear not even leather. They wear vegan boots and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so I read somewhere like maybe my source would be not that credible, or maybe you are wrong here. But we'll verify it.
No, I'll put it on screen. Yeah, fact check. I can put it on screen.
We'll just fact check.
And before I put it on screen, I'll make sure I share it with you, and you too approve of it before I do it. Because I don't want this to be like a misrepresentation.
I get it. So,
sorry, we were talking about the fact that how about this? You asked me like, but you're against killing a cow for beef because you are. That's where we left off. I guess the philosophy point. Yeah, the answer is yes. I will be against you killing the cow for beef. Yes. Yeah, if given the fact that you have something else to eat. Again, I can't go to someone, say if I said, if you're privileged enough to have 100 or 120 rupees per day, you can be a vegan. I will not now go to the slums of Dharavi, Mumbai and hold a placard saying like, oh, you're eating this. And you can't do that. You have to create systemic change. And I'm reaching out to the privileged people who can make that jump over to a plant-based diet. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, so what alternatives do we have? Like, I wanted to know that. Like, if I am stopping consuming meat, if I completely stop eating meat, if I completely stop eating chicken, and there was a study as well, I have that source as well, 84% of the people who turned into vegan turned back into being non-vegan within 2 years because they did not find it suitable for them. And Bear Grylls, a childhood hero, Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls, like that crazy kook. Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
So he also turned into a vegan. But after 2 years, he made a public statement that I thought that veganism was very, very good for the environment and very, very good for the health. But I was wrong on both counts. He also wrote a vegan cookbook to bolster his argument. So
I don't necessarily take those. You know what? We'll look into those. But before we go into the arguments, you know what? We'll definitely, don't worry, we're going to go into nutrition next. But what I wanted to do was, I just wanted to come like full circle on the philosophy part, then go into the nutrition stuff and also share with you the arguments from my side.
Okay.
But regards, again, you made a point earlier saying that, Arvind, you exist right now. You need to eat and you want to cultivate crops. You see a field there. You have to go and tear down what's already there. And then right now start planting crops for doing that. Completely agreed. So again, if I don't do that, I would die, and I cannot feed the population of the country, which is around 1 billion, without farming crops. Would you agree that it's not possible without farming we can feed people? Yeah. So in that regard, what's happening is, again, this is not, I would not be willing to match this exactly with what takes place in a slaughterhouse or a dairy farm or say even an egg hatchery. The reason is because that field could have some animals on it, could have no animals on it, could have, and when you made this statement that aren't insects sentient, I'm just being 100% honest with you. With the current scientific knowledge that we humans possess at this moment in time, we cannot actually make an argument saying that insects are sentient. Even
I said that about various organisms, be it cockroaches, rats. When you step on a rat,
but a rat
it
is a
wiggles
vertebrate.
its...
Yeah, but a rat is a vertebrate, and a cockroach is an arthropod. It's an invertebrate.
I know the distinction. I said that both for insects, the other organisms, be it vertebrates or other organisms you find on the field. I also mentioned about hummingbirds and other birds that are seen as pests.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Which is why I did say, in case we are doing it intentionally, it is out there to defend my crops. In case it's unintentional, we both agree there's nothing you can do when it's unintentional. Just like how you can't do anything like...
Can I make a statement regarding the research I have done on the paper?
Yeah, but you surely can. Before that, but I just want to explain to you, when you do mention insects, I have to put forth the argument that we don't even have enough science and technology right now to prove that insects are sentient. That they have a subjective awareness of what's happening, not that they necessarily feel pain like how we vertebrates do. We know that insects have nociception in them. That is this ability to, like, if there's a negative stimulus on an insect, the insect will be aware if the stimulus comes again to try and escape. Like that seems to be there. That's all we seem to know. Even we humans are having...
So why does it try to escape? Why does it try to escape?
Because it's a living organism, and all living organisms are DNA. It's encoded that we live and reproduce. It's what living organism.
So there are certain instances where I have personally seen whenever I am trying to kill a mosquito, it tries to run, or whether I have just clapped my hands and it doesn't die, then it also wiggles its leg.
Yes.
Why does he do that? Why does it do that?
I do not have enough knowledge in insect biology to answer that question.
Okay.
But I am just saying, from the current knowledge we have, we cannot for 100% assure that insects are sentient. But with that being the case, since we are not so sure, we vegans err on the side of caution, which is why we do not consume honey, which involves exploitation of insects, and we do not wear silk, which involves exploitation and commodification of silkworms. I again repeat, within our framework, we do not exploit animals. This still fits. As I told, I'm giving you a framework. Veganism is a philosophy where one refrains from exploiting animals. If something is not fitting in that, which, by the way, there are exceptions. We vegans are hypocrites in certain ways. We can get to that later. But for the most part...
Allopathy.
I mean, the medications,
yeah.
You got me. Yeah. There are actually quite a few more I can name for you. But yeah, okay, now let's go to your study. You wanted to say something.
I quote what I read from the book. To grow 400 tons of peas on a single farm in Tasmania, for example, some 1,500 animals have to die each year, right? And in South Wales, to grow rice, nearly 2 lakh native ducks are killed to protect their feed. Plus 50 billion bees are being wiped out in 2018 to 2019 alone in order to produce avocados and almonds. So that would be my statement to that. So in order to, there is a English news debater, Piers Morgan,
I know.
He just follows one line of argument. Do you love bees? Do you love bees or not?
Yeah.
So that I would just like to reiterate his point. In order to grow avocados, in order to grow almonds, you have to kill billions of other organisms that are not even a threat to your crops or to your feed. They are just being killed in order to fulfill your needs, to fulfill your taste buds. Do you agree that vegans, you just made a statement that vegan food is less on the taste side? It is not that tasty as meat. I have my friends who just feed on nuts and avocados just because of the taste. And I saw in one of the podcasts in which you were the participant, and you said that you do not eat avocados. Yeah, if it is harming, you do not eat avocados. I do not like avocados. That would be my counter argument to Piers Morgan. If you think that many of the organisms are killed in farming avocados, then don't eat avocados. you have a limited choice. You have limited choices. You have limited choices of taste in veganism. Then you are also putting a bracket on certain sort of food items that you shouldn't consume. Then where does this end? We are just keeping brackets again and again and again that
No,
you should
I'm
not eat this.
telling people not to, and because people always like to portray veganism. The reason why I said that is because it's always portrayed that vegans drink almond milk and we eat avocado toast. Like this is like one of the stereotypes that is always put about us vegans. I just wanted to say I don't drink almond milk and I don't eat avocados, not because the bees are being killed. I as an Indian, I've never got
Like the question that was asked by the girl was, what would be your counter argument to Piers Morgan? To which you replied, I do not eat. So that
that would not be a fair counter argument. So my argument is only this, Shivang. It's that if you were to right now point out independent situations where we are killing, we killed how many lakh ducks for
2 lakh per year.
2 lakh per year. Okay, for growing what? Peas.
Rice. Yeah.
And this was in
2019.
the area, Tasmania?
No, South Wales.
South Wales. This is in Australia, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I am not wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure either. No, my point is that I'm not denying to you the fact. Why were these ducks killed by the way? Do you have any idea? Like I don't, because they come and eat the paddy fields.
Like they can be seen as a threat to the crops, but they aren't. They weren't. Like in order to remove them from that area, they were being killed.
Right. So again, my argument would be this. As I told you right now, I am part of a system where if I right now choose to stop eating rice and choose to stop eating peas or choose to stop eating anything because of these reasons, I will have to die. Just like how I cannot suddenly stop paying taxes, I cannot suddenly just stop eating altogether. My framework is that I do not want to take part in any system that exploits and commodifies animals. That does not mean now that I will ignore the areas where these kind of cruelty and, let's say, as you're saying, unjust killing of animals is happening. But what do I do at the moment? At the moment right now, I do not have a solution. And therefore, since I don't have a solution, like my point is this, you are bringing up
You are
an
trying
argument.
to alleviate the pain that is being caused to the animals, right? You are trying to alleviate it.
I'm trying to ensure that in human society, animals have the right to not be exploited and used as commodities by humans. That is the only thing I can do. At this point in time, there's nothing more I can do. But let's say, for example, tomorrow, the world does become vegan. Yes, then as I told you, we would have to be willing to look into each and every single issue and saying that, how can I right now, Shivang, go and fight for ducks that are being shot and killed or bees that are being executed when people are intentionally willing to harm bees for honey, which they don't need to survive. When they're intentionally willing to shoot and eat ducks because grilled ducks taste good. You understand that I cannot necessarily, if I were to go and say, we have to now find ways to stop shooting these ducks or something else I had to do, people there would be like, wait, buddy, before you come to us, those people there purposely eat roast duck. They purposely eat honey. Shouldn't you go to them first? Of course, it's just people throwing these things there. But
there's a blame game happening.
But as a vegan activist, I am saying I don't want to play the blame game. Let's first fix the commodification and the intentional first degree homicide of animals. And of course, we will then definitely look into this and see what else we can do. But until then, Shivang, am I not stuck in this system? I'm not saying I'm not responsible. I am paying for this. If you want to say that the vegan activist who is condemning me of saying don't eat chicken, don't eat milk, don't eat all this stuff is also responsible for animal murders, yes. But because he's stuck in a system and what else can he do? Like if you could right now point out to me and say like, Arvind, you know what? I don't want you to eat peas and rice and almonds and avocados, okay? But instead, I'm going to right now show you an exact plant-based diet you can follow where animals are not being harmed and I've done my research, blah, blah, blah. Do it this way. I'll be like, well, damn, Shivang, I guess you got me here. I guess I'll have to listen to what you have to say because you're giving me a solution. You're giving me a problem. And right as of this moment in time, I do not have a solution to this problem. That doesn't mean that I now start ignoring the solution to a problem that I do have. You get my point? I'm not disagreeing with your points. I'm not saying you're not right to make these kind of assertions or accusations towards vegans. You are right. But I don't think that this makes me a hypocrite because what can I do is my question.
So coming to the first line of argument that you gave, the first limb was, if I don't eat plants, I'll die. That is the necessity.
I'd eat to survive. Yeah.
To eat the plants, to eat the crops is my necessity. So if from today, I rely my life completely on dairy-based products or animal-based products, then I think that I won't need a plant-based diet to thrive. Maybe I can just thrive on a animal-based diet. On an animal-based diet.
There is no. I think you're talking about the carnivore diet and stuff. What people promote online. That stuff.
I'm not talking about the fully carnivore diet. I'm just making an assumption. If I go completely non-vegetarian from today, right? So I make non-veg diet as my necessity, just as you have made plant-based diet as your necessity. Are you getting me there?
I'm kind of, but not exactly. But go on.
So if I make that argument, so a non-veg based diet is my necessity because it is my free will to choose what should I eat and what should be on my plate, right? And secondly, I have a friend, and let's say that I know a guy who knows a guy who knows another guy. He lives in Sweden, and they hunt bison there, and that bison lasts for a year. So they do not have to go and kill, or even if you take all this plant-based diet argument, they do not have to grow crops and spray insecticides again and again and again. So they are contributing less to the environment, like in terms of emissions or in terms of if I make this correct, they are hunting only one bison per year, and their family is thriving and surviving. And if we
the remainder of their calories come from plant-based food, basically. Like the only animal-based, probably primarily they eat is bison meat, and the remainder of their calories and nutrition comes from plant-based food.
They do not rely on plant-based food. They fully thrive on a non-veg diet.
Wait, do you mean they're carnivorous?
Yes, they are fully carnivores.
And how many people in a family?
I do not know the number of people in a family.
Hypothetically, let's just say that
four people.
Four people, okay. And if you were to kill one bison, this is where in Sweden?
Yeah, Sweden.
I think it's this big brown color, bushy hair, those bisons, right? Let's just assume that you get, 300 or 400 kgs of meat from them. If a family of 4 were to eat only bison meat that they have frozen and kept and they thaw it out and then they eventually eat it.
They can also rely on other animal-based product, be it milk.
Okay, fine. That's not just the bison. They eat other stuff also. That's my confusion. They eat other things as well. Okay.
But not primarily. They are not relied on a plant-based diet. Just as you said, it is a necessity for them. For their geography, non-veg is necessity. Like even if you see in India, if you go to the northeast region, they eat every sorts of meat. They even eat dogs. I'm not saying they are wrong, but their geography is like this. They cannot grow crops. They are thriving on an animal-based diet. So there is nothing that can prove that if you only thrive on an animal-based diet, then you will die.
Right. Therefore, if you say so, plants are your necessity. We can make a claim. No, animals for us are a necessity. So we'll go with. Okay. No.
Now you get it.
When I say plants are necessity, what I mean by that is that I have to eat to live. I have to eat to live is what I mean. And by eat, fine. I get your point right now. Yeah, I should not make the statement then that plants are necessity. I have to make a statement that I have to eat to live. And as I eat to live, or in any other action I do in my life, I do not want to commodify and exploit animals in that because animals happen to be sentient, whereas plants happen to be insentient. Therefore, I choose the plant option. Would that be a better way to phrase it then?
So the question again comes on the sentient beings, that you are alleviating harm or exploitation on the sentient beings, right?
That is correct. I'm not exploiting them. See that I'm not exploiting sentient beings. Yeah. Yes.
So let me give you a hypothetical situation. If I were from a ranching family, right, and there I have a cow there is a symbiotic relationship between me and her. I give her good quality food, and in exchange of it, I take her milk, right? So would that be a fair thing to you? Because I'm not exploiting her. I'm just giving her the good amount of food, so that she produces good amount of milk for my family. So there is a symbiotic relationship happening. So do you agree? Because I have seen these argument from vegan activists that the dairy industry should be stopped. So that is a fairly bogus argument to make in any sense, because if there is a symbiotic relationship, I am giving her good food, she is giving me good portion of milk, then where is the exploitation here?
Right. So the exploitation happens if we have to ask questions and go back and trace where it starts from. If you were to say you have a cow with you, I would ask you the question, where did you get that cow from?
So I basically bought it.
From where?
Bought it some dealer.
Okay, some dealer where he say, I think in Hindi you guys got a mandi, right? Where they sell these cows.
I guess.
Yeah. And there they have a bunch of cows, they're auctioning them off and you can buy them. That is commodification of animals.
So commodification of animals, how is it exploitation when I am taking care of that animal, when I am taking
We could
her to my
replace
home?
the animals with human beings, and wouldn't it be commodification and slavery?
See, I wanted to go to the back to the social contract theory,
Mhm.
where I just mentioned comparing animals to human beings would be a false equivalence to make. Right? If I just take this logic, animals are not a part of this agreement. If we see the dawn of the civilization, if you go back to the Indus Valley civilization, it is mentioned in the history textbooks that cows were an inherent part of Indian agriculture, of Indian households, and it still is. Most of our economy thrives on the dairy products. We are the largest producer of milk and largest
One of the, I think, yeah.
one of the and one of the largest exporters of milk as well. So there is economy attached to it. There is our feelings attached to what we see dairy industry as. There is socio-economic sphere that we live in. Who can afford milk or who can afford eggs per se. They are not a part of dairy. They are part of poultry. But so that would be my argument to whatever
Right,
you said.
we
right
have
now.
kind of, I don't see how the fact that humans happen to have built a system in which they depend on cows, are used to have cows in order to survive, now makes the commodification and exploitation not commodification and exploitation.
How is it exploitation if I am buying a cow and giving her a good home?
Because as I told you, it's not about what you alone do. When you say milking, people assume that it's merely the act of placing our fingers on the cow's udder. That is cruelty. That's not what we're talking about. So once again, when you say that you go and you buy a cow is not an object or a thing that should be
Then you
sold.
are also against the domesticated animals being dogs, etc.
Completely.
Okay.
Right. And just to let you know, this is a picture I can't put on screen because YouTube might censor it, the video. But could you describe, if it's already, if you're comfortable enough, to what you see there in the picture, in each picture?
Artificial insemination am I correct?
And what is happening on the picture, like a bottom one? Like what are they doing? Can you explain if it's okay with you? Like,
So this is artificial insemination. So artificial insemination is actually, you can say, injecting some sort of semen into the cow and in order to produce more offsprings. In order to cater to the demand that has been created by the world pertaining to this very diet, right? Am I okay?
Yeah, you're right. If
So-
I may just say this, if I can just be blunt, they are literally masturbating a bull. Okay. They are attaching a condom to the bull and masturbating the bull so that they can collect the semen in a condom, then take that, put it in a catheter and put it in the backside of a cow. So this is what we call, this is done for chickens, this is done for pigs, this is done for all animals. Because we have to control their reproductive cycles, because we have to create newer animals so that the next year's demand can also be met. It's not just about killing the one we have this year.
So you agree that there is very much demand of dairy products, right?
Right,
That's why we are doing it.
right.
What would be your alternative to this?
But before we go to alternatives though, when you said that if you were to get a cow and raise them in your backyard, and that cow was brought into earth through this means, you realize that, right? Even if it
What is the proof of that?
without exploiting an animal's reproductive cycle, how do we get an animal on earth to use, to sell, to
See, if I go to a jungle and see there if a buffalo is grazing, how can I know the history?
Yeah, but then
how
now you're
it was
taking
bought.
yeah. But then now you're taking that individual from their natural habitat when you don't have to. That's the
How
point.
can we thrive? It basically
Okay, fine. You
depends
want to go
upon
to the nutrition part right
no,
now,
No,
I
no,
guess.
no, no. Like every argument then goes to the nutrition
Fair
POV
enough.
and the socio-economic perspective that we are thriving on.
Okay.
Like see, like my basic argument is, if I buy a cow and basically someone else would have bought it. If I go to a jungle and I buy a cow, there would be more inhumane ways where the buffalo should have been killed. Maybe a lion would have killed her, right? And maybe it would happen that some other predator would have gotten to her calf and it would have killed her.
Right.
I am just buying her. I am just bringing her to my home, giving her proper conditions, proper food. Because in order to get me some good quality milk, I have to give her a good fodder.
Would it be fair if I said this is like a utilitarian perspective?
Yeah.
This is right.
Yeah.
But from a deontological perspective, which is where animal, like how we have human rights, we're approaching from animal rights perspective, it would still be wrong because that animal has every right to just be independent and free. And if you are to help them out of a good will that, oh my God, that lion is going to attack the buffalo, do it because you want to help without expecting anything in return. Saying that
I just mentioned there's a symbiotic relationship between me and the cow since the dawn of civilization, and it still persists.
Well, okay, that's why I'm asking you then. Again, you will say right now this is an unfair comparison. But if I were to replace the cow or any other animal that we humans have been exploiting from the dawn of civilization with another fellow human being, would it be considered as exploitation and slavery, or would it be considered as a mutual help?
Can you repeat?
Sure. If I were to before you again, you will probably, I know your answer to this. You are going to say like, why do you again compare humans and animals? And in fact, we have to sit on that topic.
I'll think of another line of argument.
Fair enough, but I will have to sit on that argument for a bit actually, because I believe it is valid of me, very valid of me to compare humans and animals. But my point is that if we were to replace the animals that you say we are having a mutual benefit with, in that scenario, if I take the animal out and put a human instead, does it now become a mutual benefit or does it become slavery?
It becomes slavery because we have prescribed some laws pertaining to humans.
Right, okay.
And if we were to take animals into these laws, then I don't think it makes any sense if we take animals into these laws. Why? Because there are, currently there are no alternatives that we can go for. It is a means of survival for most of the people living,
which is why
particularly in this country.
Yeah, which is why I did make the statement. If you are privileged enough to have 100 to 120 rupees a day, you are privileged enough to become vegan. Please do make the change. That's my clear statement. I'm acknowledging that.
Again, I said that if you are saying that you indulge in less exploitation or less killings, that would be a bogus argument and a hypocritical argument to make. I just gave you the number 25 times more.
I never once from the beginning in my framework said less exploitation or less killings. I did not even speak. I didn't.
If I bring a cow. Okay, so how does that count in exploitation if you are saying that? I am giving her a good environment to live, to thrive, a good fodder, better than the grass she's eating in a forest. So how is that exploitation? I'm not able to understand that.
Sure, because you are using her body for your benefit. And when you say, again, this example, are you talking about a cow you buy from a breeder? Am I right to put it that way? How else do you actually practically procure a cow? If you want right now a cow in your house, you will have to go to a place where someone...
Of course, who is selling cows, who has a farm, who has a farmland.
And what do you think takes place in the farm? And that's a business again. We are once again commodifying animals, because if I am a breeder and I know there are customers like Shivang who will come to me, like in a year, there are going to be like some 25 people who are going to be like, hey, I want a new calf or a cow or something. I will have to make sure I take my commodities, which are the animals I have. I'll have to make sure they are forced to have sex between them. And then once they are pregnant, I have to make sure I separate the baby from the mother and stick a barcode on the child and be like, off with you.
So would it be fair to make this argument that if we stop this artificial insemination into the cows, then it would not count as exploitation?
It still would.
How?
Because what's happening is that you either have to, what I'm saying is this, I want you in this scenario to replace the animals with human beings. And if you're still not convinced with that, we'll get to that right now. Then we'll go to nutrition. If we are to replace the animals right now with human beings, it suddenly makes sense. Oh my God, this is slavery. This is exploitation. This is wrong. And the reason why I'm comparing humans to animals is because, as a law student, please correct me if I'm wrong on this statement, in our law as well right now, which I pretty much agree with on many levels, we humans deserve rights because it's called an intrinsic value. Your value is not placed on how useful you are to me, but rather because you have value, you find value in yourself. Is that a right statement? Right?
Yes. Yeah. You have a certain sort of value in the society you are living in.
Could you expand upon that? What do you mean by that?
Like whenever you are born, you are not aware of the rights. You are not, educated enough to know about your rights, but your parents do, or your guardians do. They are a part of the society that we humans have created. Right? So every human being has a social utility.
By utility, you mean that they are of use to society.
They are of use as compared to the animals. They are of more use to the society. They can contribute more to the society. And that is the presumption.
But is that so? It's not because, let's say, I mean, it'd be wrong of me to say that it is wrong for this human to kill that human, not because the victim here has the desire and motivation to be alive and not be harmed, but rather because that victim is useful to society if they don't die? Is that
the laws that we have made. Earlier, there were no laws on murder. There were no laws on rape. So, for example, if you took the example of murder, the laws that we created have come through a social contract that I just mentioned you. You have a right and I have a duty.
I'm trying to find out.
And yeah. So it is on the self-respect. It is on the social utility of that person you have murdered, right? I'm not talking about the defense. Private defense doesn't come here. If you kill a murderer.
No. I'm saying innocent person is being killed by person A is killing innocent person B. So this is my clear question. My clear question is that person B has the right to be alive because they are useful to society, or they have the right to be alive because they do not want to be harmed. Which is the, how does the law see it? Could you tell me?
I think both.
Both.
But both
is there.
Both is there.
Answer. Okay.
Like you have the right to not to be harmed by me, and so do I. So that would be my statement.
But let's assume that I was unemployed. I'm not contributing anything to society. I'm just a drunkard going about. I still have the right to be alive in this society.
Yes, you have.
And even though I'm not contributing anything and I'm a worthless person according to society standards, killing me would still be wrong because you have taken my life against my will. Would that be right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So that's what I want to get at. So that means that the value is, I'm not denying your utilitarian definition because you would know more about this than me because being a law student. But there is also an intrinsic value being placed on the individual. Am I right to make that statement?
Yes.
It's both. It's both. Okay,
yes.
Fine. Now, in terms of that intrinsic value, animals share, so they just don't happen, this happen to not be our species, but they happen to share so many of those values.
I agree.
Yeah, and that is why I'm saying we just grant them, I think you guys call it as negative rights. Negative rights means just the right to not be harmed, just the right to not be exploited, just the right to not be mistreated. Just those rights. We're not saying we should give cows and chickens the right to vote, right to education or any of that.
I get it.
Either way, once we become vegan, these animals will no longer exist. So if you're wondering what utility will they have, how do we take it? We don't have to. Once the demand stops, the breeding stops, they begin to vanish. You'll only have like a few.
Cow dung is a very good fertilizer, by the way.
I'm aware of that. But my point here right now is that they will vanish. So if you were to make the argument that if you were to tell me, Arvind, we have to now take care of all these billions of animals which don't give us any utility. No, Shivang, we don't, because they wouldn't exist in a vegan world. In a vegan world, they will either be extinct or on the verge of extinction, first of all. And second thing is, just like how we humans have intrinsic value, these animals also have the same traits and characteristics that we do, which is why I'm saying we have to extend over those rights to them. Wouldn't that be a fair statement of me? In that regards, I keep comparing humans and animals. Where do you find a flaw in this?
Can you just repeat the closing statement that you gave?
The closing statement is that the traits that we humans possess that give us intrinsic value are also found in non-human animals in society. Therefore, why is it wrong for me to make a comparison between humans and non-humans in regards to those particular things, like the right to have bodily integrity, the right to not be, exploited. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So we have to go to some books of biology or evolution. There is a very famous author, Yuval Noah Harari. He has written a very good book named *Sapiens*. You might be aware.
I haven't read it, but yeah, go on.
So in that book, he's a vegetarian, but he has mentioned various instances where human beings, specifically Homo sapiens, have exploited organisms in order to thrive. Like there were 6 other species of Homo sapiens, human beings as well.
Hominids, yeah.
Like we had Neanderthals, etc.
Yes, we killed them all out.
Yeah, we killed them out. Now, why did we do that? To create an ecological balance. And I cannot agree to this. If we live in a vegan world, then the animals would go extinct, because I'm not aware basically of any example that we did not poach a certain animal and that animal became extinct or endangered.
So poaching means that we go to animals that are already residing in the wild, and then we kill them. They're already mating among themselves. They have their own colonies. They're already thriving and existing in that surrounding. When it comes to the farmed animals right now, like what we are raising for in terms of food of chickens and cows and buffaloes and goats and these animals, like I showed that picture to you, we are breeding them. Breeding is the only reason why new members of those species are born into the world every year, because they can be fattened up this year and killed the next year. But before they're killed the next year, they'll also be made pregnant. It's an endless cycle that goes on. So breeding is the only reason these animals exist. And why does breeding
Are they capable enough to reproduce themselves?
They are capable, but we don't do that. We make sure, because see, we have
So we leave all the organisms as it is. We leave them into the field. They are free to reproduce.
Yeah, but you cannot feed a population like that. You cannot produce enough meat, dairy, and eggs to feed the population that way. It's not possible. You have to meet a market demand. There's a demand in the market.
No. I'm taking a hypothetical situation.
Okay.
What you said, that we are artificially inseminating.
We are breeding
them.
Yes.
Right. We are breeding them. So there would be a fair argument to make if I set them free on their own will.
Where to and how, and you have every year over 100 billion land animals, my friend. Like,
let's take a hypothetical scenario.
Okay.
Whatever chickens are living right now, whatever cows that are being consumed for meat, or whatever dairy industry, I set them free in various forests and all.
Okay.
I set them free. Just as you said, they have a bodily integrity. I set them free. They are free to enjoy their rights. What would happen? Aren't they capable enough to reproduce themselves?
They would reproduce among themselves with their natural instincts, yes.
So that would not contribute to the overpopulation or the harm to the ecological balance. See, let's take another hypothetical.
Vegans are not asking for that, right? That's not what we vegans are asking for.
So what?
We vegans are saying that, first of all, we have to come to one reality. Your example works in a hypothetical. What you said in a hypothetical scenario, agreed. You are logically consistent there. But that's not reality. Reality is that let's assume the world eventually, let's say in another 20 years time becomes fully vegan. Let's say by 2050 it becomes vegan, okay?
Sure.
In that time, every year there are more and more people who become vegan, which means the demand for these products becomes less and less each year, which means that the number of animals being bred into existence, because they are making a note of every single paisa, every single thing that's going on in the market, will be also be reducing, because one change here affects the entire chain of actions there. You get that, right? So if every year right now we see a huge change, the number of animals that are being bred into existence each year will reduce and reduce and reduce. By the time we reach 2045 or 2050, the number of people even doing animal farming will be far and few. They'll hardly be there. Only a few lakh animals here and there. We will have space to now take care of these few lakh animals, let them live out the last generation, and then they just die. Or if they manage to reproduce, a few more remain. That's it. That will not be difficult to take care of. But
how is that consistent with the natural selection that the biology prescribes? Like if you set
it is not
cows
consistent with natural selection at all. But why should we be consistent with natural selection, Shivang?
We set cows free to the fields, right? And on what basis are you saying that they'll go extinct on their own? How are you making that assumption?
Okay, that is if the final point is then that, let's say, just like how right now we have separated the males and females in those industries, we continue keeping them separated. The last generation exists and they die. They'll be extinct.
Why should we keep them separate? We
already do that, because if we were to keep them, so managing animals, again, since I have friends who are in sanctuaries, I've been there, it's not easy, man. These animals constantly fight each other. They constantly engage in...
So wouldn't it be cruelty if we keep them separated? I just made a statement that we are ready to set, let's take a hypothetical situation, that I am ready to set all my farm animals into the field, be it male, be it females. And I am giving them right to reproduce as well. Right. And now you are you trying to say that no, we just release them males alag and
no, we are not,
females
so we
differently?
vegans are not talking about releasing at all. What we are talking...
You are talking about the bodily integrity, and that would only come when I set the cage free.
Yeah, but we set the cage free and do what with them next? Well, again, we're going now into extreme hypotheticals, and these hypotheticals, what I'm saying is that we're assuming that we've reached the verge of a vegan world. And again, in that regard, if we have reached the verge of a vegan world, we have only a few lakh animals on Earth itself left. Because again, no one's breeding them. You understand that right now, how many...
They are breeding naturally. Let's assume that situation.
They don't, bro. That's the whole point. In these industries, they do. If we were to do that, we will not be able to get a regular supply of meat, dairy, and eggs. If you want a regular supply and meet the market demand, we have to exploit, or we have to use the resource in the most efficient way possible. It's about efficiency. This is the most efficient way possible.
See, so in North India, in most of the cities, we do not consume dogs. Still, the dog population is much higher in North India.
Which is why, because
they breed.
Yeah,
they
because
breed by
we have
themselves.
let them out. I am not telling us to let these domestic animals out. I am saying again...
So what are you trying to say? If we, you are saying to have the bodily integrity, and I gave an example, if I open a farm and I bought a cow and I take care of her from my own ends and it's living in luxury, you're saying that is also cruelty. That is also exploitation, because you are using her for your own purpose.
Yes.
So, अभी जो इंडस्ट्रीज में
Oh, no Hindi, bro.
ओके सॉरी so right now whatever animals who are being consumed by the dairy industry or the derivatives which are being consumed by dairy industry, we set them free just as dogs.
But again, this is your hypothetical, right? This is not what we vegans are demanding. This is not what
You are demanding for bodily integrity, right?
right. By doing what? And how do we give that to them right now?
By setting them free, by not
you choosing to become vegan. At this moment in time, the only thing you can do you have animals with you right now? If you do, means let me know. I will make arrangements. If you do, what I'll do is I will try to make arrangements. I'll put my own money into this. I'll make arrangements to send them from whatever farm you have right now to a sanctuary. We have sanctuaries. And there they remain peaceful. And what we do in these sanctuaries is that we neuter them, just like how we neuter dogs. Because these are actually not necessarily a sanctuary. This is actually, you can call it a refugee camp. Because if they come out, they're dead. This is the only place they have a safe haven right now. And they get to finally be free without stress and stuff. We neuter them because if they were to give birth to more animals in this refugee camp, we cannot then save another one who's already stuck in the system. You get my point? So we neuter them. So they come here and they live the remainder of their life and they die naturally. That's it.
So you're trying to neuter animals as well?
Yes, we are. I'm telling you, domesticated animals should go extinct. I did say that, right? They should go extinct. Yeah.
So you are advocating for neutering them as well?
Yes. But
wouldn't it be a form of exploitation, because you are again harming their rights of what you see or what you sense in your brain? That, like, if I become a vegan or if I follow some different sort of sect, I form a new sect, and I now from tomorrow I start to say that no, animals also have the right to reproduce, right? They should have the right to reproduce as well. So what motivates me to advocate for the rights that they should be neutered to control their population? If you are saying, like humans, animals should also have the rights, certain rights, why should right to reproduction not be their right as well?
Good question. The reason for that is because we have to look at reality and where we live right now and what's happening. In this day and age, if you are born as a cow, you are a slave in the milk industry. If you're born as a chicken, you are a slave in the meat industry. If you're born as an egg-laying chicken, you're a slave in the egg industry. This is pretty much the reality of how things work at the moment. When this being the current scenario, there is literally no benefit to them in reproducing and being born into a world where the system exists only to exploit them. Do you get my point? This is like saying, if I could hypothetically go back in time to the Holocaust during World War II, and there were Jews maybe reproducing when they were in those camps, a smart thing to do would be not to reproduce, because what future does your child have? Would you agree with that? Because you reproduce due to natural instincts, you bear a child for 9 months and you give birth all for what? Some races to come and kill your child because apparently he's a superior race?
That would be a false equivalence.
Why not?
Because a child is raised with such education and rights that they can stand for their rights further, and they can advocate for their human dignity as well.
Example I gave was World War II Holocaust, Jews stuck in concentration
I knew the
camp.
Extermination of the Holocaust, and there were so many Jews killed. Now they have their own country.
But not now. We are talking again. My example takes place in the past.
Okay.
If we could travel back there in that time, and we happen to see two Jewish people who were stuck in the Holocaust in a concentration camp where they're being used to do manual labor, and eventually they were starved and killed, right? Like eventually, but they are considering to reproduce. Would we not tell them there is no future for your child? You are literally being massacred here. You giving birth doesn't give that. What's the point of being born into this world when your quality of life is not assured? This is again like asking, if for some reason we could, if for example, we knew for a fact, we had like this weird machine that could tell us like, if this child is born, 100% the child is going to die in the next 3 years, but they're going to be facing the most obscene amounts of violence and pain and suffering and even disease and destruction and everything. Why? What's the point of being born when your quality of life is to be a slave, is my argument.
So again, it is a hypothetical situation, and if you go to a cow and you try to neuter her, what explanation do you owe to her? Like, you are eventually exploiting it. Like, the cow doesn't know if her cow would go in a slaughterhouse, or some eventually know because they are part of the slaughterhouse.
But we do.
But we do, yes. But what right do we have to neuter them?
You are saying that once again, I am controlling her body. That's your argument. Yeah, you are right. I am controlling her body. You're right. Even when it comes to these street dogs, when I do get them neutered, I am controlling their body. That's because it's not because I want to. It's not because I benefit from that. It's because at this situation and time, the system is so messed up for them. They stand no chance in the system. The best chance they stand is not being born into the system at all. That's why. Although you have the right to say that I am controlling her reproductive cycle, I am not doing it to commodify them, to exploit them or gain anything from this. I'm doing this just to ensure that a newer victim is not born to suffer, because that is the only thing that will happen.
Okay, I get your point now.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you trying to say, that you are talking in the sense of proportionality, right? The proportional harm in the long run would be quite lesser of what is happening to them.
You could say that. You can make the statement.
So that I cannot get it, that how does this make sense, that they, like, you are advocating for their rights to live, right to bodily integrity, etc., but at the same time advocating for their extinction. So I cannot make a link between them. Like, at one point you are saying they also have the bodily integrity, and the second point you are advocating for their extinction.
So can I be more precise then? What I'm saying is that right now in the current system in which we live, they do not have, their body belongs to us. Their life belongs to us. Their skin, their babies, their milk, their flesh, everything, we own it. They can't do anything. With that being the current system, once again, if we were to replace the animals with humans, and there were humans thinking, the human being, if they were stuck in such a system, would not benefit from having a child, because that child does not have any quality of life assured to it. In fact, it's the exact inverse. So in that regard, I'm preventing them, I'm neutering them and preventing them from mating among themselves, because the alternative is worse. If suppose we no longer have such a system, just assuming that we completely we give animals in law the right to not be exploited as commodities, okay? And tomorrow we're also
we have the laws.
We have
in certain states
to not be exploited as commodities. Animals are commodities, Shivang.
I know they are commodities, but there have been certain case laws given by Supreme Court as well. Animals should not be exploited as commodities. There is, I do not remember the name of the game. It happens
really?
in South India.
Jallikattu. Where I'm from, Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. So there also, it is the news from last year or 2 years.
It's
I don't remember.
8 years ago. I remember it because the people were
I was preparing for one law exam, so I read the news on Jallikattu in 2023, I believe. So there was a bar set by the Supreme Court not to exploit them, right? Even though it is a part of your culture, you have no right to exploit them, right? So there was a bar, but they did not say it intrinsically. They did not make a boundary that it should not go. So slowly, we are moving to some point of time where animals are getting some sort of rights, but that doesn't stop us from consuming them for dairy products, etc., because they hold us some sort of social utility. See, as vehicles
replaced horses, you can say.
No. Like we are switching from vehicles to electric cars. We are not stopping vehicles as a whole. The same mileage, the same strength. We are getting that from electric cars, even though they are also contributing some emissions to the society. But we are switching. We are trying to switch, right? Now, if we talk about the social utility in terms of animal feed, what are we trying to do? We are going from one place to another, and there is no benefit that is happening to the society and the environment. There is no benefit happening to us as humans. At the end, we are indulging in some sort of cruelty and exploitation. And when you say so that cows should be made extinct and they must be neutered, then on what basis are you advocating it for? You are saying that her life would be more harsh if a new calf is born. But the feelings of a cow are attached to its calf. You are making all of this animal rights thing because they have feelings as well. They are sentient beings.
Yes.
So if you try to neuter it and she will not be able to reproduce, how do you know that she does know that if the calf is born, she would be exploited? Like he or she would be exploited. Are you getting my point?
I'm kind of getting your point, but she will have feeling towards the calf only after the calf is born. And if I'm neutering her, the calf isn't going. This is like saying to me, I don't have children by the way at the moment, saying to me, Arvind, but what about your third son? Don't you miss him? Like, he doesn't even exist, bro. He doesn't even exist. Like I haven't even met him.
You are abridging her right to reproduce. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, Shivang, but you see the circumstance. You understand that I'm doing that for. See, would you agree with the statement if I say that right now, by us human beings exploiting animals, the animals don't benefit in any means? They don't benefit from this. We benefit, but not them. Would you agree with the statement?
No.
You disagree? You think that they benefit?
See, let me tell you. when the argument goes around the ranching family or the dairy industry, right? If I have a farm, right?
Right.
A cow produces more milk, right? And if it is not milked properly, like it produces some sort of milk for its calf and it produces milk in excess. If it is not milked properly, then it suffers from a medical condition named mastitis. Yeah. So in some sense, we are benefiting from the cow and we are having a symbiotic relationship.
No. You made a leap there. But before we go to the example you gave, simple thing. Let's look at just chickens around right now. Chickens benefit from us eating them, or do we benefit from eating chickens?
I gave an example of
The cow-
of chicken eating your natural fertilizer.
Yes.
Right. So we are giving them good food, right? We are giving them good food, good environment to live. I disagree with the good environment to live, by the way. So there is a point of argument.
Let's assume we're giving them a good environment.
good environment
Let's
to
assume
live.
that, okay, then because of that,
Therefore, our nutritional benefits are being fulfilled. And what is the lifespan of a chicken?
something around 8 to 10 years, I guess.
8 to 10 years. Are you sure
I'm
on that?
not sure on that.
I believe around 1 or 2 years.
That's it.
I am not aware, but I believe.
My friend, since he has a sanctuary, he has chickens that are like 12 years old.
Maybe that should be some other variety. I'm not sure on that.
Talking about broiler chickens. Oh, broiler chickens won't live for more than a few months, bro. Like they are like Frankenstein monsters. Their body has been changed so much genetically, they like suffocate on themselves. But anyways, let's leave that aside.
So at the end, we are consuming them after they are completing their lifespan.
Whoa. But my point is this. Would you, when I made the argument that I'm not disagreeing with you saying that we humans benefit from eating animals or exploiting animals. Do they get benefit from us
Some sort of animals do, yes.
You believe that, really?
Like, just I gave the example of a
the
cow.
milk, yeah. Okay, fine. But when it comes to the animals that we kill and eat, like chickens and broiler chickens, you think they benefit from us eating them?
In some sense, they don't.
In some sense, they don't.
No, they don't.
Oh, but not completely. In some sense, okay. But again, if I again make the argument, I'll come to your milk example. Make the argument that if we replace the chicken with a human, definitely they don't, right?
Sorry?
If I were to replace the chicken there with a human, then most definitely.
Human has rights. Animals don't.
But right now we do. Right now we brown people have rights. Earlier, the British was ruling us, only white people had rights. Right now, women have rights as well, but earlier only men had rights.
Men had rights, yeah.
Even right now, we do not necessarily give everyone in the LGBTQ community the same rights that we, other straight people.
We are moving to that scenario.
So why do you not see animals as just another disenfranchised group that should later be deserving?
Whatever examples you gave, man, woman, come via a single species, that is Homo sapiens. And they have been a part of Homo sapiens society since time immemorial.
You are saying that, Shivang, but a racist would say, I am of this skin color, that person is not. See, you seem to not care about race, but a racist would. You seem to not care about gender, a misogynist would. The vegan is saying, I don't care about species. The speciesist is saying, no, apparently only human matters. Do you get the mindset approach?
See,
is the same for everybody?
so the argument that I made regarding the social contract theory, it is for all us humans, and not animals or other species are not included inside it, right? Even if we try to inculcate them into the species, that it would make no sense because they do not have that conscious or that brain to come into a contract with the other.
They don't need to, which is why I'm saying the ones that we exploit, the domestic animals, wouldn't even exist in a vegan world. They wouldn't exist anymore. So why need that? You get my point? You see, if I were to say, no, we have to integrate them into society and make sure they live a part of our lives, and then you have the right to make that argument. But I'm saying they wouldn't even be a part of society. I'm saying they'd be extinct. And that's why earlier I asked you, is it only from a utilitarian perspective you say that a human being has rights, or is it also from a perspective that the human, the individual, also has their intrinsic value? You said it's both.
Both.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying from a utilitarian perspective, forget about the animals because they will not exist anymore. They will not exist in a vegan world. But from an intrinsic perspective, they still have the same values same traits that we have. Now, coming to your milk example of you saying that this cow is benefiting by us milking her, you have to understand that we humans cannot cause the problem, then give the solution, and then be like, you see, I'm doing it for their benefit. This is like me pouring kerosene and then lighting it on fire And then later people are screaming, coming and pouring in water and saying, like, see, you guys needed me. Yeah, because you're the one who started the fire, dude. If you didn't start the fire, we wouldn't need the firefighter. Similarly, that cow is producing excess amount of milk because she is lactating. She is lactating because she just gave birth. She just gave birth because she was pregnant. She was pregnant because the dairy farmer decided to breed her because only a pregnant animal can give milk. And he decided to breed her because he wants to meet the demand of dairy. And who is the demand of dairy?
Humans.
You. So once again, you start the fire and then say, look, I'm benefiting this. Like, how does that make any sense?
See, the argument that, or the statement that I made that a cow produces more milk, it is in her gene. Even if we not, breed her forcefully, it's in her gene, because I just gave an example of Harappan civilization.
So you're doing that out of compassion? You're milking her to removing the excess milk out of compassion for her. Is that what you're saying?
If I'm from a ranching family and if I farm her from a symbiotic relationship, then I am doing what you call in Hindi an ehsan on her.
But what happens right now if we don't breed her at all? The problem is solved. And how do you think?
See, there would be more inhuman ways in which she'll die. She'll die from a disease.
But my friend, so that's what I'm saying. If you care for her, like how my friends who also have sanctuaries, who genuinely care for the animals, who are not exploiting them at all, they also face these kind of issues. Sometimes pregnant animals come, the baby is born, the baby drinks milk, but even after that, there's still more milk left. If it's not milk, she develops like wounds on her udders. So she is milked. Why? Not because we want to exploit her or we want to sell her milk. She is milked so we can relieve her of her pain. And then that milk, which is animal protein, is used to feed animals like cats and dogs. The excess milk is used to feed animals that are dependent on animal protein. Do you get my point?
We are also dependent on animal protein in many ways.
At this point in time in human technology, we're not anymore. We used to be. We're not anymore. That's changed, actually. We have options right now. For human beings, we have options. And by the way, I don't know if you know this. We've been going on for 1.5 hours. Did you know that?
1.5 hours?
Isn't it 1.5 hours? 2 hours.
2 hours?
Almost.
OMG.
I told you you wouldn't know. But anyways, it's going to be just 1 o'clock. We still have plenty of time, Shivang. I'm really glad we're doing this conversation. But so where did I last end right now?
We have alternatives.
We have alternatives. And my point is that we cannot cause the fire and then say, look, I'm a good person because I'm a firefighter. We human, our demand is what causes them to come into existence in the first place. And then we're saying, well, your existence might cause you some turmoil and therefore I'll be the good person who will now give you some comfort. We're not the good people here, bro. We're the bullies. We're the humans. Why do you have a difficulty in admitting that animals are victims? Humans, for a lack of better word, don't be afraid, are assholes to animals. Like, why is this so hard to understand, accept? Like,
see. My basic proposition during all this debate, during these 1.5 or 2 hours, has been: I have no problem of you going to the field, killing so many organisms at a large scale. But when I do this, then you all guys have a problem. See, I acknowledge the fact that we have to indulge. We as a dominating species, we are at the top of food chain. We have to indulge in some sort of cruelty in getting some of the food products that we eat. That
is true. You are right to make the statement. Factually correct. Go on.
Right. So I am not going and advocating or preaching people to turn into my faith or into... It sounds like a religious sermon. It's like, it sounds like a proselytizing race. That someone is coming to me and preaching me, no, you should not eat this. This involves animal cruelty. This involves killings on mass scale. Well, you died as well.
But I did not make either of the statements. I said that I do not. I'm just not that you're wrong in what you're saying. Factually, you're right. But I just want to make sure that people realize that was never the framework I stood by. If I stood by a particular framework and something didn't fit in there, you have the right to say, Arvind, you are doing some golmaal here. Okay.
See. Killing an animal is not at all human. You agree?
I agree.
I also agree. Killing an animal is not human.
Scenario, but yeah, for the most part, yes, for the most part.
I also agree to that. But there is no alternative. Even if I go on a vegan diet, I am killing in some way or the other.
Yes, for now you are. But do you realize that if we reach critical mass and we reach a vegan world, we can try to eliminate and prevent those as well. We can actually create a better world. It's just that, see, if I have to right now say that... you know what? How can I draw and show you when they can't see it?
Oh, leave it. You can just explain it. I'll understand.
Like I wanted to basically just draw a line and then a circle around it, saying that we are here, and we unfortunately have to take this route and reach completion of the circle. Okay, you are pointing how while marching forwards right now, I am still taking part in many other cruelties, which I am acknowledging. If I ever did not acknowledge them or said that they are invalid or something, you have the right to say like this guy is not being fair. But no, you're right. Like you pointed out the ducks being killed, you pointed out the bees being killed, you pointed out plenty of things. But my point is that as long as we humans eat animals and wear animals and do whatever we want with animals in the name of tradition and religion, dude, the horrors we do to them is beyond imagination, by the way. We do that and not even care.
I did watch the documentary Maa Ka Doodh.
Yeah. Beyond imagination, we do these kind of things to them. And then we tell them, but wait, the bees, but wait, the ducks. They wouldn't care. So I am saying that we have to go in this direction. We will go full circle and solve what you're saying as well. Just like how initially I divided it into 3 segments. There is intentional first city, there is accidents, and then there are certain things that in which I'm a part of a system that I unfortunately have to still remain within the system and try to fix it. I cannot just immediately, when it comes to meat, dairy and eggs, since this is not a communist country, if it were a fully communist country right now, we'll be waiting in line for our rations to be given in the evening. Right. And then it's given, that's not a damn thing I can do right now. Similarly, there are certain parts in this country right now that the government just goes ahead and makes some decisions. We cannot have a choice in that. Certain things we do have a choice in. Food happens to be one of those things we have the choice in. We can technically choose to step out of this animal system for those who are privileged enough to have 100 to 120 rupees a day and choose the plant-based option instead.
Okay.
So that is where I keep saying, you're right. You're factually right that I am also causing harm, Shivang. But if we all went in my way, we potentially could solve everything. But if we were to go in your way, we won't solve anything.
Listen to me. So if I take a situation, everyone turns into a vegan, right? We'll do intensive plant-based farming, right?
Not needed, but go on.
So you are advocating for lab-based as well?
I don't mind people consuming. I personally would not consume being a vegan, but I have no qualms against people consuming.
So let's carry forward the argument. We all become vegans. We are necessarily thriving on plant-based food. We need farms. In order to grow these farms, just as I mentioned, this is a statistic, only 3.5% of the land on this planet is agriculturally viable, where you can grow the crops for human consumption. Right. Factually, we find a solution for that as well in the coming years.
We actually have found. Yes, we actually right now have.
Okay, we'll talk about that. So, we are clearing up the forest. We are clearing up the farms. And in order to feed all of the population, we are killing more organisms because we are building more farms. So at the end, I am doing the same harm being a non-vegan. You are doing the same harm being a vegan.
No, Shivang, because you would have to once again, I told you, for going to different trophic levels from the bottommost, which is the first level plants, to the highermost. If I were to eat humans to get my calories, I would be killing more animals, the more individuals in total.
I suggested that's the waste product that animals eat.
Right, but right now, not everything on Earth is that way though. A lot of land on Earth has been cleared solely for grazing purposes, because grazing also is something we have to clear out the forest and grow green grass and other things that only the grazing animals like goats, sheep and cows can eat. So in that regard, we already have right now, if we would, I can put up the study on screen because I don't exactly remember the quote, so I probably will do that when I am mentioning this right now in the editing process. That there was a statement that was made that if we were to right now remove all of the land we use that is solely used only for feeding livestock, be it in terms of grazing lands, be it in terms of crop production to only feed farmed animals, we would clear up a landmass that is nearly the size of the continent of Africa. This is what I read. Sounds crazy. If you want, you can just Google it up quickly if you'd like to see, if you're putting those keywords in. I'll definitely put up the study. If in case the study happens to be bogus, Arvind's at fault, he will retract the statement. Okay, but as far as I know, the last time I checked, it's not a bogus study. Okay. So my point is this. We have already intensively cleared out so many acres of forest land and so many other things in order to make sure grazing and crop cultivation for animal ag does happen. If you talk only about India, I don't have enough statistics. I'm talking on a global level right now. I do not have the specifications only for India. But we do live in a globalized world where trade happens. We cannot say that every single food or clothing or any kind of product that me and you use is only manufactured in India. It comes from all over the world. Similarly, food too can come from all over the world.
Yeah.
And that way we can create, it is possible to create an earth from on a theoretical basis, on paper, it is possible to create a system where we're able to get all of our calories and nutrients only from plant or synthetic sources. Right now we have the technology and we can thrive. It is actually possible.
I gave an example of Sweden, right? Agriculture is not that much possible there. That's why people thrive on a non-vegetarian diet. For example, you are transporting some sort of almonds from California. What about the emissions that are coming from the plane?
Right. So veganism has nothing to necessarily do with...
Like you said that, like you made this statement in terms of the emissions, right? That
No.
Okay.
Like right now on some video you mean right now? You're talking about like a video?
No.
Like,
Right what was your statement right now? Maybe I misinterpreted
No, I'm so sorry.
it.
No, but not in terms of emissions.
Okay,
My
sorry.
aim, because I don't know if you know about this about me, many vegans always bring up the environmental argument. I actually don't do that. I don't at all bring up the environmental argument for two reasons. One, I'm not too educated on that subject. And number two, that has actually nothing to do with veganism. Even if what they say is better for the environment, it happens to be a bonus for us. Because what I am arguing against veganism is...
Can you just reiterate your statement? I may have misinterpreted
My statement was that we live in a globalized world where trade exists and different options come from different countries. Not everything we consume and eat right now in this country comes necessarily from Indian soil. It comes from Africa, it comes from Japan, it comes from China, it comes from everywhere. So that being said, even in terms, maybe we Indians will not be able to cultivate all our food here right now. Even maybe right now we're not cultivating all our food here. We're probably importing a lot of stuff from abroad. Same thing can still happen in a vegan world. I'm just saying instead of animal-based, it will be plant-based. That's it. That was my argument. Do you understand? Or like...
Okay, so my basic argument was that if everyone is completely resorting to a plant-based diet, animal deaths are still happening. And as I said, 25 times more. And if all of us become vegans, the animal deaths would cross a significant number. So why, see, the basic argument of vegan activists is reduce or just stop this animal cruelty. We should stop animal exploitation.
I say we do not exploit animals as commodities. That is what I've been saying from the beginning. I did not talk about reduction because the word reduce can mean anything. Anything can fall under the word reduction.
Okay. So
I'm trying to be precise on that. And again, when you keep bringing that argument...
we'll kill the animals in the same sense.
So
we'll kill more organisms per se.
So again, as I'm saying, I'm now talking about from a global perspective. If you were to bring in only India, I do not have the statistics or numbers to talk about this. I don't even know if you necessarily even have the statistics and numbers regarding only India.
I have cited Australia, South Wales, Tasmania, US.
Yeah, you said 4 countries, you said, right?
US, UK, India and Australia.
4 countries, yeah.
That was pertaining to one such study, but either of the studies that I've mentioned, the killing of the ducks, that happens in South Wales.
Right. So what I'm saying, South Wales is in the UK then, not Australia. Wales.
It's a part of UK.
Okay, right. I earlier said it was Australia, my mistake. So what I'm saying is that you are again that so that let's if you are to look at it from a global perspective, right now there is deliberately a lot of land which has been intentionally cut off to make grazing grounds and to create crops solely for animal ag. These are solely done only for this purpose. In fact, we have a lot of land. It is what I said, if that land alone is cleared up, I'll put up the study that shows that we could have a land mass almost the size of the continent of Africa being cleared up in terms of land available for growing crops. So what we have done is that if say we are now causing 100% damage, okay, through our omnivorous diet or whatever it is right now, okay, by being vegan, already by the very default of being vegan, you have reduced that by 30% or whatsoever number. Like that's just default gone because there have been specific lands that have been cleared right now only for animal ag. You get that point? Like that's one chunk here. The remaining is the 60% that is grown for humans and the waste is also given to as animal feed. We cannot necessarily, I told you, stop that. What we can do in a vegan world is try to implement various different methods to even reduce the amount of deaths and stuff happening there. Like
how is it being reduced? That's what I'm going to
what we'll implement?
No, sorry for the Hindi word. Like I wanted to ask that if you are switching to a vegan diet, how are you alleviating the deaths? How are you? Like in what sense?
Because like I said, if right now we have to call deaths in the current omnivorous chain of events we have right now happening in the earth as 100%, since there are certain land masses that are specifically cleared off solely to feed to animals in animal ag, and not for because the byproduct is fed to them, it's just everything all in whole is fed only to them, that will first of all be cleared off. So what is now 100% will say become something like 70 or
70%.
70%, okay. Let's say the remaining 70% has to be there because there is right now, we have to feed human civilization. Okay, let's say that has to be there. With that being the case of 70%, here we now, since we have to have this, we humans and we vegans right now have to find other ways that we can implement in order to prevent even the other kind of deaths that you mentioned, to prevent them to the least degree possible. Of course, there is still going to be a clash of species, because here it's not one species breeding another into existence to kill them, but there's another species trying to survive. But by them surviving and dominating, I will die. So that clash is going to happen. We have to now try to find other methods to address these issues and reduce the amount of violence happening there. And that can happen, like I told you, we have to go full circle. Like, I don't have a solution right now. But as we move towards that, we vegans will close the gap. That's the whole point, right? We don't want this to happen, but we have to start somewhere. And we are then going towards that. So 30% will be removed, the remaining 70 will be happening, and we will do our best to even find methods to implement to reduce that as well. That is my argument.
Okay. So I still did not get the answer to the 25 times more killings that are done in a plant-based diet. See, if you go, like in the world, you are talking on a global scale, right?
Yes.
So on the global scale, are non-vegetarians more, or are the vegetarians
Omnivorous
more?
people are more.
Omnivorous people are more. Right. So to feed a small section of vegetarian people, or vegan people, we are killing so many insects and so many, leave it insects. You just said that they are not sentient. See, we are killing so many organisms. We are clearing large amounts of forest. Tomorrow, every omnivore chooses to be a vegan or a vegetarian for that matter, a vegan for that matter. Right now, imagine the extent of killings that we would be indulging ourselves in.
By saying extent of killing, are you talking about clearing of more land for growing crops, or are you talking about what will be taking
pesticides,
place?
insecticides. Then you have.
That's the difference. Are you talking about now? Are you saying that by any chance in a vegan world we'll have to clear even more land?
Yeah.
No, that's not true, my friend. That's not true.
Why?
Because we already have enough land to feed people only on plant-based food. We already have it. If right now this is 100%, 30% is done. These numbers are just for sake of argument, we're saying 30, 35, whatever it is. 30% is there only for animal ag. We remove that. 70% is left. That means we already.
But there was an estimate I read. There's 3.5% that is available for human consumption, like agriculturally viable land. There is only 3.5% on this planet. So 3.5% cannot feed the billions of people that we have living in this world.
But right now, so I'm not exactly sure on that number. And so if by all means...
Can I use my phone check?
By all means, please. And please do send me the links to these studies so I can put them up on screen.
I'll send you the book.
Oh, it's a book, you have taken excerpts from the book.
The book has taken excerpts from various articles and citations.
Okay. So yeah, I'll try to find a similar citation and I'll share it with you and we can decide which one to put on screen.
Okay. We'll find a midway then.
Yeah. It is animal ag that is more intensive and for which we need more land. That is my argument.
Okay.
So we'll
cannot
free
find
up
that piece of study right now, but I'll definitely
No worries, we can definitely put it up on screen once you send it to me, no issues.
Okay.
But my argument is this. We will free up land. We will free up water consumption and we will free up all these things by ending animal ag, because we again have to feed these animals crops. Even if we are talking about the waste crop, I'm telling you it's a specific amount that is now done only for them. That will be removed. That in of itself solves, let's say hypothetically, 30% of the problem. Remaining 70% still persists. There will be animals in the fields which may be being killed. There may be animals which will also be killed because they'll want to come, like the ducks you mentioned. So we vegans at that point have to try to find ways to try to avoid and minimize that to the maximum degree possible.
So now I get you. Like if you, correct me if I'm wrong, you're trying to say whatever land that we are cultivating, let's say 30%, that is for animal use. We make it for human purpose, right?
We already have...
We remove the animals and we make that land agriculturally viable for human needs.
We can either do that or we can just let the forest grow back there. From the study that I am quoting, they are saying that we could replace so much of Earth's forest to grow back by just not eating meat.
See, just as I mentioned, the plants or the grass that our meat eats or whatever animals that we use for consume for dairy eats is very, very different from what we consume. You cannot grow wheat on that field where there is a grassland or where the land has been specifically cultivated for an animal to eat. You cannot do that. It cannot be done on that land. If it would have been possible, then it would have been done since time immemorial, right?
I think if it could have, it would have is not something I would necessarily agree with, because humans will do what they want.
Do you agree with this proposition that the food that animal eats is not suitable for us? Because they have certain sort of cellulose or enzymes present in its body that convert
grazing
it.
grounds are not. We cannot eat grass, obviously. We can't eat, but there are
You cannot grow crops on that.
No, but there are certain crops like corn and soy, and I think even oats and a few other things, I'm not sure, that is used specifically as animal fuel to bulk them up. There are some crops that are fit for human consumption that we actually do give to animals, which is why I keep mentioning 30%.
So how much of the 30% land that you are mentioning relies on the fact that soy is grown there, or it is basically fit for the animal?
That's a good question, and the correct answer would be that I do not know. That would be the right answer. I do not know. I do not know is the answer. I don't know. But when you mention a statement saying like, we humans will not be able to say hypothetically grow this particular crop on that land and all this stuff. Once again, I am not too knowledgeable on that. I don't know how much knowledge you have. I'm personally, I get what you're saying. I've heard many farmers also make the statement they have more experience in that field, and I do agree with them. But what I want to say right now is, see Shivang, if you're telling me, Arvind, you are saying that we should go from point A to point Z. And you are right now just saying to me from point A to B to C to D, you're giving me the roadmap. After that, it's just blank. You are not telling me how we're going to go there, what we're going to do. And I am bringing up potential issues that might be coming up, fair issues all by the way, that could prevent and cause problems for us to become, when we become vegan. The thing is that the human race, I honestly feel, should face those issues. The human race has faced so many problems, be it from natural disasters to human wars to nuclear bombs to every time there are issues, we can solve it. We have come so far in our technology where we can now pretty much, if I took one cell of you, we have the technology to recreate another Shivang in a lab. That's the level of technology we're at right now. With that being the case, we humans should find a way forward. Will issues come up as we move toward the vegan world? Hell yeah. Will problems be there? Yes. I'm saying we human beings should face those problems as they come about and try to find solutions instead of again going back to throwing the burden on the animals, because they too feel pain and suffering just like us, and we have to stop doing this madness to them. That is my argument. Am I giving you like a proper crystal clear solution? No. Why? Because I don't have the answer.
But like my basic contention is, like you are saying that there is a circle and you are trying to find a way, and you are trying to reduce the number of pain and suffering that we are causing to animals on a daily basis.
Again, that would become a utilitarian perspective to reduce. When I say reduce, because it's
to eliminate all of this, right?
I can't eliminate either. I know I sound like a broken record, and you might think, and people can think I'm annoying, and that's totally fine. But the argument I'm putting forth is that I have to give forth exactly what my stance is. If I don't do that, then I'm not being. When I say the word we vegans, if you look online, what's the definition of veganism? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. They say vegans try to eliminate as much cruelty to animals as possible. What even is animal cruelty? That is subjective. What even is reduced?
Just as I mentioned in the beginning in my opening statement, morality is subjective to us. What may seem moral to you would not seem moral to me.
Exactly. Cruelty is subjective. Not to mention, if I say reduce, okay, so if I eat right now 10 chicken wings a week instead of 20, am I being less cruel? Hell yeah, that's reduction. So what is least amount of pain possible? These things actually don't give much value. That is the definition Mr. Donald Watson, who coined the word vegan, gave it in the 1950s or 1960s in United Kingdom. That's what he could think back then. Now, as a movement, as we progress forward, we see how problematic their statement is. We realize that it doesn't encapsulate entirely what the vegan ideology means, which is why we are giving a clear-cut statement. Animals should not be exploited as commodities by human beings. If an animal should not be treated as resources, if we give them this one right, we right now solve, Shivang, over 90 to 95% of like all forms of exploitation happening on earth, like just like that. And the remaining ones we will address and we will get to. We just cannot get to those before addressing these first. And what happens is when we address these, we come to people who are taking part in the 95% and tell them like, hey guys, you guys don't have to do this. We'll get to nutrition now shortly. You have energy, right? You have the strength to go on, right?
Yeah,
okay, we'll get nutrition right now. We're telling you guys, just make these other choices instead of these. But then you guys say, well, there's a bunch of problems behind me as well, and you can't reach them yet. Yes, I know. You have to come this side and we'll move along together. Fix those first. I'm like, come on, man. Like, we will fix those.
See, like I just gave you a situation where everyone goes vegan. Then also you are, I just want to make this statement. I saw videos on YouTube. of animals getting slaughtered. A cow is getting slaughtered. There is blood all around. There is gore. It was disturbing to watch for me as well, and for everyone it should be. But if tomorrow everyone goes full vegan and you just clear up farms, you are also killing so many organisms. That's the basic sort of circle I am revolving around. Why we do not feel, very, very sad for them? Because we cannot see the blood. We cannot see the gore. It is not visually appealing to us.
That is not the reasoning I am giving, though. Although you might be right to make those statements, that is not necessarily the reasoning that I am giving. What I am saying is, where it can 100% be avoided and it's done with premeditation.
How can it be avoided?
Where it can be 100% avoided and it's done with premeditation, when I'm not even defending myself, that can first of all be completely stopped. Where it's happening as an accident, we can try to reduce. Where I am right now defending myself or my crops or anything, in that regard as well, I will then try to find other non-violent means to repel these organisms so that I can prevent as much as possible. Again, I want to do to the best degree we possibly can. But for that, we need people to not give this as an excuse and come over to our side first. Again, if I had ever said what you're saying is nonsensical or is wrong or incorrect, you have the right to call me crazy. But I'm saying, no, I'm acknowledging that. I'm like, yeah, you're right, Shivang. You know what? Let's solve it, bro. Let's solve it. But I need you on my side right now at this point in time in this movement. I want us all to become vegan. And let's say tomorrow we have millions of vegans. By the way, just like how are you aware right now, we vegans, if we're sick, we do go to the doctor and we take medications, and medications are tested on animals. And right now, that is not a fight that someone like myself, who's like, for lack of a better word, preaching about veganism can stop. But we do have a separate team of organizations and activists and scientists who are vegan, who are actively campaigning every single day, finding alternatives to use instead of using mice and monkeys and dogs and other animals in those testing labs. And we're trying to solve that at a time. That's a separate fight happening on that end. Now, tomorrow also, as the vegan population grows older, we do acknowledge this and we will start fighting on that front as well. We just haven't reached that area yet. We're not, how do you say not acknowledging? We're not, we are acknowledging this. But right now, what can we do? Do you have, like if Shivang says, Arvind, this is a problem. Arvind's like, okay, Shivang, can you give me a solution? No, but it's a problem. Yeah, bro, get it. Now, here's another problem. Okay, Arvind, what solution? Solution is right here. But you couldn't solve the problem that I gave, so that shouldn't be the attitude, is what I'm saying. You get my point?
I get your point now, but like just as I am just reiterating what I...
You're not getting a satisfactory answer, yeah.
Sorry?
You are not getting a satisfactory answer for your question.
Yeah, I am not getting to, like, it is not appealing to me that much. Sorry.
No issues. You're getting a phone call, huh?
I just put this on airplane mode again. I forgot.
Is it recording though? Then good, no issues. Okay.
Wait. It's still on the record. So,
how about this? For this issue, before we go to nutrition right now, you give your final statements on this issue. I'll give mine. Then we'll just stop it and we'll go on to nutrition.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So my closing statement would be pertaining to this regard is, if you are advocating and if you are campaigning that everyone must go vegan to stop the exploitation of animals, etc., then to me you are just shifting the focus from large guys to the small guys. Right? I think that would be a proper statement to make, because just as I mentioned, 25 times more harm happens to the animals when you do plant-based farming, even when the vegetarians or the vegans are very, very less in the society. Right. And if they reach a certain level, if they reach a certain mark, mainly like half of the earth becomes vegan, then imagine the extent of exploitation or the killings that would happen on the farm animals. Because bird is also a pest. Bird is also seen as a pest in the farms. The same amount or maybe more than that, just as I mentioned, 25 times more. So that would be my closing statement regarding to this.
All right. My closing statement would be that, again, we have to take crops, and there's certain areas on earth where you have acres and acres of forest land already cleared out and where crops are specifically grown only to feed animals. Those areas can be, first of all, filled up completely. They can be reforested again because that area is no longer required by human beings. For the 70% that we do need to feed ourselves plant-based food, again, I agree that there is bloodshed, there is violence, there is killing happening there. But it's still, my framework of saying we do not exploit animals still works there. Animals still deserve rights in human society. and that still works. This is again like me saying, well, Shivang is paying taxes, he's part of a system, and his taxpayer money is used to lodge bullets in the heads of children in other countries. And therefore, because unless he changes this about himself, I am not convinced I should stop killing other human beings actually. Because Shivang is apparently a killer himself. Shivang might be saying to me, listen, Arvind, bro, I understand there's a problem in the system. I too am a part of it, and I too want to solve it. But that does not justify you now causing first-degree murder on fellow human beings clearly when they're not doing anything to you. You can choose to stop that, be a part of my movement, and then as we move forward, we'll eventually reach a point where we can also end that as well. I need you on my side to solve the current problem that you are doing and also end the problem that I am currently a part of in the system, and I acknowledge it 100%. Please do not use that as an excuse not to change yourself first, would be my closing statement.
Okay.
We both had a closing statement. I did not want to go any more back and forth on this.
Okay.
I hope, yeah, fair enough. Okay, regarding nutrition, my friend, what exactly?
I need to use the washroom first.
By all means. Take your time.
Where's the washroom?
Everything going good, Nikhil, so far? So, Shivang, with your consent, can I just delete that frame where you walked out till right now you sat? Just make sure we don't inflate this video artificially. Do I have your consent for doing that?
Of course, I use the washroom.
Why you should
because,
look, I have been accused in the past by many people apparently that I...
did accuse you of
he did. Not just him. Many people unfortunately have an opinion of me. I don't know why it is that I am someone who needs to morph the videos I make to prove myself and my case look better. Although I don't do that. So just to make sure that my participants do not have that feeling, I just wanted to get your consent. And the audience also knows that I'm doing this with your consent. That's why. To show that I'm fair.
Yeah.
That's all.
I know that you're fair. That's why I'm here.
Oh, well, thank you. So, okay, now going to nutrition. You are of still the strong opinion, I believe, that we humans need to consume animal products to be healthy and to like thrive.
To thrive, yes.
Okay. What issue do you take with, like, say, a well-planned, well-structured plant-based diet?
So, to me, plant-based diet feels on many forefronts. First of all, we have to couple it with a lot of things. Like, for example, I take a piece of chicken, right? I take chicken breast. And at the other end, I have to take chawal. Then I have to take dal. Still, the protein content that I'm getting from the chicken is not adequate. It is also lacking in amino acids. The dal chawal is also lacking in amino acids. Plus, even if we see the socio-economic framework that we live in, particularly in this country where most of our population is in poverty, a vegan diet does not make sense to the poor. Plus, this vegan thing, I think, is a rich man's facade.
Okay. If I can just comment on that, like, would you agree? I've been making this statement throughout this video actually, but now you can say that you agree with it or not. We'll go in detail.
Like you did say that I'm talking about the privileged class right now.
Yeah. The fact that if you have if you're privileged enough to have 100 to 120 rupees to spare a day, you can get a nutritious, wonderful plant-based diet that fulfills all of your nutritional needs perfectly. Do you concur with that statement, or do you think, no, that's a bit exaggerated? Like
plant-based diet and an animal-based diet, the comparison would be like if we compare the protein profile, if we compare the zinc, vitamin A, vitamin B. I don't think so. As per my research, we cannot.
Fair enough. Let's go one by one right now. I want to show you a bunch of stuff. That's why I have so many of these printouts with me here. So first of all, when it comes to protein, and you're speaking about protein quality, have you heard of these two words before? I'll put it up on screen for you guys to see what it's looking at. PDCAS and DIAS. Have you heard of this? It's written on top. Have you heard of those words before?
PDCAS, maybe, but I am not
I'll
aware.
explain to you. So just like how, for example, say right now we are making the statement that Arvind is taller than Shivang. What are we talking about? We're talking about height, and height is measured either in centimeters or meters or some distance, length, right? Similarly, when we're talking about protein, we need to have a unit of measurement to measure out how good a quality it is. Now, at this moment in time, these are two scoring methods that scientists have come up with to define the quality of the protein based on both the digestibility in which the human can take from it and also the amount of amino acids present inside the thing. These are actually not the best case studies we have because PDCAS, I believe, was performed on rats and DIAS was performed on pigs. So these are not numbers taken from human trials, animal trials, which don't translate 1-to-1. But at the moment, this is the best we have.
This is the best
at the moment we have in the scientific community. Now, in this, if you notice, obviously, animal-based foods are on the top. The topmost one, always in highest standard, is whey protein isolate. That's like the creme de la creme. The top, best, highest quality protein in terms of amino acids and digestibility you have, milk proteins. And meat and eggs obviously fall clearly pretty much under the same category. But however, if you look at plant proteins, I have mentioned a few here. Do you know what soya chunks are?
Yeah, I know.
Soya chunks are not expensive. They are very high in protein. They contain all of the amino acids in them.
Methionine, they don't contain methionine.
All of the essential amino acids you need. Cysteine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, tyrosine, and valine. I have named 9 essential and 2 conditionally essential amino acids. All the 9 essential ones are found almost like meat in soy.
But as per my research, one amino acid is missing in
soy.
Yeah.
Oh, my friend,
methionine.
soy is one of those few rare plant proteins that seem to have all the amino acids. If you were to mention some other thing like rice or dal, I'm not sure which one it is.
As per my research, and I did my research quite extensively on this, it does not contain methionine.
Is methionine, when you first Google is methionine an essential
yes,
amino acid?
It is.
It is? Are you 100% sure on that?
I am 100% sure on
Okay,
this.
could you Google whether soy contains methionine? Because soy is a complete amino acid. How could it not? How could something with a complete amino acid profile?
I took help from AI chatbot as well to in order to structure my debate.
But you can just ask Google right now if you want. Just ask like, is methionine an essential amino acid? Or is it conditionally essential? Is my first question. Methionine is an essential. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Now, does soy contain methionine?
Soy does contain methionine, but its content is relatively low to negligible.
Okay. But I'm not exactly sure then why. But in these scores in which they have marked, just like how you have chicken and eggs marked as 1 and stuff, soy is usually marked almost in the same category. It's not a 1.
I think that depends on the bioavailability, if I'm not sure.
So they have taken into consideration both the amino acid. This is PDCAS, means protein digestibility corrected amino acid score. They've taken into accountability both. So this is the best scale they could come up with at the moment. And in that, when you speak about methionine right now, probably have to look at my own research. But from what we have the data right now. Soy is a very, very high and good quality source of protein, and not to mention also calcium. Foods like soya chunks and tofu, or especially tofu, is extremely high in calcium.
Yes, I do know it.
So, if you were to right now say make a curry, like how much do you weigh, if I can ask you, in kilograms?
66.
That's it. Okay, fine. So you need 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight.
Yeah, that's the WHO estimate.
So 66 to 70 grams of protein means Shivang is well and good. So if you were to just take like say 100 grams of soy chunks, of course they will swell up in size. If you like, have you ever eaten them before? Have you made a dish with them?
Yes, I have.
As you can see, even the pricing. I'm just put a random brand there. I'll put it up on screen for you guys to see. So it is not more expensive than meat-based options. You do have a very high quality amino acid score and protein digestibility score. Not as high as meat, mind you, but still very high. So if we were to start including options like these instead of say meat, and you also eat your regular foods, like you say, I guess you guys there call it rajma chawal, right?
Yes.
It's half rajma, which also makes it a complete. I mean, if you notice, when we combine a grain and a legume, we do get a high.
But that deals. This has some problem with bioavailability, I guess, because as per my research, when we combine rice and lentils, then there is an issue of bioavailability. For example, if you are eating a chicken, if you are a piece of chicken and then you are eating rice and lentils, chicken is more bioavailable than to you. Plus, you just mentioned about soy. Soy is a complete source of protein. As
one of the few,
right? So there is a lot of other problems with soy. The first being, it has trypsin inhibitors that reduce the bioavailability of the soy. Even if it has a protein content, your body won't be able to digest it fully. So that's the concern regarding the soy, that it has some trypsin inhibitors. And there was one other substance that was isoflavone. It also has isoflavone that
mimics the estrogen
mimics the estrogen, and it is not advised to infants or children under the age of 15 as per my research.
So there is a lot of, you can say, both positive and negative research on soy. Both exist. But if we were to look at the overall analysis that people tend to conclude, like when we look at the meta-analysis and all these kind of things, we find that soy in general is safe for people except for those who have thyroid issues.
Okay.
Because there is something called as goitrogens. It's a compound, and that thing could inhibit the absorption of iodine. This goitrogen is also found in vegetables like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. So I don't know if you have someone in your family who take thyroid supplements, you could check with them. They'd even be careful when they eat what they call as cruciferous vegetables. Similarly, like that, soy contains. So if you're having thyroid issues, check with your doctor before consuming soy. That is one thing.
Okay.
But if you don't have thyroid issues, and regarding the isoflavones and trypsin inhibitors, I'm not exactly sure about isoflavones. First of all, we are mammals. This is a plant. This is a phytoestrogen, plant-based estrogen. We are mammals with mammalian estrogen. Although it's called as an estrogen, it doesn't function the same way in our body the way our estrogen does. So it doesn't necessarily affect our estrogen, as far as I know, unless you start consuming it in absurd quantities. Absurd is the question. If you go to if you decide to start chugging down 20 blocks of tofu, then yes, you're going to face some issues. But if you're going to just eat 1 block of tofu to get your protein and calcium, you're not going to face an issue on that regarding isoflavones. And the next point is that inhibitor you're talking about. I am not exactly aware of the exact inhibitors, but I'm also aware that they have oxalates and certain other...
Oxalates are basically present in...
all plants almost. All legumes. Yeah.
See, there are 3 things that are present in plants that are harmful to the humans. First is oxalate, second is lectin, and third is phytic acid. And all the plant-based foods have them, even spinach.
I know. Very high in oxalates, yeah. So, which is why the soy we get, when you take soya chunks, for example, it is manufactured because the soybean is taken, the fat, that is the oil, is now removed from it. It is then processed, heated, beaten, treated, and then we finally get that small soya chunk that we consume.
The perfect soya chunk that you call.
So, due to that process, a lot of those negative things that you talk about have been removed from it. They are there, which is why even if we come to other, this is called a legume, by the way, the dal family. When it comes to other dals in India, what do? We soak them, then we strain them, we wash them, we boil them nicely, and then we consume them, thereby eliminating the potential negatives that could be there in it.
Okay.
That is the point. And so the point is that you can, there's another food I want to talk about. Have you just see this one? It's called Seitan. Have you heard of SEI? Have you even heard of that word before?
No, I have not.
Okay, fine. This is really weird. I'll be happy to show it to you. Give me a sec.
Oh, you carry it?
Oh, yeah. We have to make sure we give all the information and also show it as proof. So, have you heard of this word called vital wheat gluten?
I have heard it.
Yeah. Basically, it's gluten. It is from the atta we take, this is the protein from it. And if you check it out, this is a 1 kg packet. It costs 650 rupees, quite expensive. And per 100 grams, the sticker is covering it, it's actually 75 grams of protein. 75 grams of protein in 100 grams of this flour. Okay. So, by adding this while making some of your chapatis, or again, this becomes an income, more or less you can call it as a poor amino acid profile because it's a grain. So when you eat this alongside with, again, some kind of a legume, and when you're getting such high, see what happens is when it comes to these plant proteins is, the scientists these days say that, yes, when it comes to your amino acid profile, what you're saying is true. But once you cross a certain threshold of protein, you've hit your overall protein goals. Your body also has inside something called as an amino acid pool, from which in case, say, for example, a few grams or something is missing, it'll pull from that pool and just manage it. Because your body is the evolutionary culmination of cavemen, right? If they were to die because they didn't get 1 or 2 missing amino acids, we wouldn't be alive here today, right?
Yeah.
It can very well easily go by. So my point is that by consuming again, another issue people bring up with a combination of grain and legume is that they're very high in carbohydrates. Both legumes are high in carbs, somewhat low in protein. Grains high in carbohydrates, low in protein. So if we were to get only from that source, we would be in a pickle. Which is why we have to pick low carb options like tofu, tempeh. Tempeh is also like a soy-based thing.
I know.
Where the bacteria has actually now is fermented. The bacteria,
fermented, yeah. Tofu is also fermented, I guess.
Tofu is, I don't think it is. It's basically soy milk mixed with a coagulant.
Okay.
Again, the way these things have been traditionally prepared is that they are. It's not like they were planning to account for the inhibitors and stuff you mentioned, but it apparently happens to be avoiding it in general, because the bacteria that is what forms the bacillus, that bacteria that eats the soybeans to form the tempeh, has already eaten up and removed the negative parts that you mentioned. So foods like tofu, tempeh, seitan, soy chunks, and of course, if you're someone who likes to work out, there is plant-based protein powders. We have pea protein isolate, soy protein isolate. Protein will not necessarily be an issue. There is a video I published on YouTube. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Being Vegan in India. It's 90 minutes long.
I saw some of the part. You did mention you were eating something from.
Yeah.
There was you mentioned something related to yeast, if I can recall.
Nutritional yeast. Yes, I even have it with me here right now. Yeah, it's right here. How about this?
Okay.
Let's go to that. So regarding protein, that's my answer. Regarding nutritional yeast, understand again, meat is very high in different B vitamins. There are various different kinds of B vitamins like folic acid, pantothenic acid. There is different kinds I've named there. And this food called fortified nutritional yeast, I'll show it. I have it with me right now.
But you did mention that it is very, very costly. And if I am getting that in some small amount, the same profile, then why would I not go for the economically viable option?
This is economically viable. Shivang, just look at what's on top there. How much is it per day you'll be spending?
5 grams every 2 days, 7 rupees.
7 rupees every 2 days.
So this is the... Okay.
You can even open and just take a smell if you want. Just
No. It's fine. But you have given this for vitamin B profile.
For mainly the B vitamins. And now what I'm saying is that B vitamins are present in different kinds of plant foods. Like say, for example, right now, if you and me were to eat a traditional vegan foods, like you must have seen that video, idli, dosa, chutney, sambar. So if we were to eat stuff like that, we are getting definitely some B vitamins. We are getting some protein. We are definitely getting some nutrition. Okay. But there is still a gap that could potentially be dangerous if it is not filled. Which is where foods like fortified nutritional yeast, which will only cost you 7 rupees per day. Okay, foods like soy chunks, which is again not that expensive, you can eat, can easily fill in those gaps.
See, I just talked about bioavailability, your body's ability to digest the proteins. For example, let's take a hypothetical scenario. A single soya chunk has 100 grams of protein.
Okay.
Your body would only be able to digest 20 of it.
My dear goodness, no, my friend. That's why I'm showing you the PDCAS and DIAS scores. That is not true. That is not true. That's why. See, if I come without the research, it's fair of you to say this assessment. But this is.
See, I have also done my research. So I was just researching about this in the morning. Soya beans are not that bioavailable to the humans.
Soybeans, exactly right.
Soya beans or soya chunks, you can say.
But the
soya chunks is fermented.
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. The soy chunk is now made through another process that removes the inhibitors, that removes the negative effects that could be there in the raw bean.
Can you just cite me any study that shows that the trypsin inhibitor has been removed from the soy bean when it has been transformed to the soy chunk?
I can definitely search online and try to put it. At the moment, off the top of my head, I can't. But one claim I can definitely make. One claim I'll be happy to make, which I know I can definitely get proof for. Soy protein isolate. That's that protein isolate, right? That thing has been so much processed and treated. Even when it comes to the isoflavones you're talking about, it's all.
I agree that isoflavones can be removed by the fermentation, but the trypsin inhibitor cannot. As far as my study goes.
Okay. But let's assume right now then you don't want to eat soy chunks. Okay, let's take soy chunks and throw them in the dustbin. You could still choose to eat seitan, and you could still choose
What is seitan?
The vital wheat gluten I showed you. So you can turn that into a mock meat. So basically I batch cook at home. I take this vital wheat gluten, I mix them with water. Like say I take half a kg of it, mix it with water, add some seasoning on it, and then I divide them when I'm done, I let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. When you come back to it, you'll feel like you're holding some meat in your hand and it stretches and it tears chunks and chunks of meat. So I'll take a bunch of them, I'll boil them in water, and then once they'll slightly grow larger and they'll cook in size, then what happens is I put them in the freezer. So when I want to, the next day I take them, chop them up, make a curry. I also make sure, since I'm eating a grain here, I add in some kind of legume like say chickpeas or rajma throughout the day somewhere. And easily, see dude, when I say 75 grams of protein, that's a lot of protein. What
is the amino acid profile for this?
The amino acid profile on that is quite crap because it's a grain. Which is why you have to eat on something from the legume family. Or in the day, or throughout the day somewhere else you eat, like a good serving or two of that, and you're set. And you'll be getting over 100 grams of protein, my friend.
There is one influencer, I cannot remember the name. She is also a health content writer for NDTV. So she just mentioned in one of the videos that when you cook the dal, most of the proteins die. So this is a misconception in Indian families that dal is proteinaceous.
Mm-hmm.
Raw dal can be,
Mm-hmm.
but when you cook the dal, half of the proteins die instantly.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring forth the fact. So what I would say is that you could definitely go and look up these words PDCAAS and DIAAS.
DIAAS.
Yeah, these two scores. And you can have a look at how scientists came to this conclusion, because these are not my own fabrications. This is what the scientists
I get it.
have come to. And they are agreeing that a combination of a grain and a legume, and again, if you were to look only at rice, it's a score. If you were to look only at dal, it's a crap score. But when you do eat them together, the score is bumped up. Not to the level of chicken, mind you.
What is the amount of protein you get from the one serving of dal chawal?
It depends on how much legumes you've used to cook there and how much water you've added. Because if we make it all watery
Let's
and
take
runny,
the average. Like an average human being.
the average way in which we prepare dal chawal is crap for protein. I'm not arguing that. The average way. I'm telling us not to prepare it that way.
Okay, so I just did my research regarding this. If we complete our meal by dal and chawal, we get around 9 to 13 grams of protein.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if we consume 100-gram chicken breast, then we get 27 to 30 grams of protein.
Yeah.
With all of the amino acid profile.
Yes.
And that is lacking in there.
Yeah, so let's not eat only dal chawal. Let's have that. Let's also have soy chunks. Let's also include tofu, or let's also have seitan.
I just read somewhere that plant-based food, even though they have these protein profiles, etc., any of the plant food does not have complete amino acid profile, essential amino acid profile I'm talking about.
The
9 essential amino acids are there, am I correct?
soy is one of the exceptions. There are a few more. I think quinoa is also an exception. I'm not entirely sure about that. It's a kind of grain.
As per soy, I have my research done. So it is mentioned that it lacks in methionine.
Right. So maybe, first of all, again, if they have labeled it as a high quality protein, there has to be a reason for that. Right. Yeah, if there must be a reason for that. And maybe the methionine I'm just guessing, at this point I'm just guessing, maybe the methionine requirement for humans could be low, because if they have rated it highly on the scale, surely they would have taken, the scientists would have considered all this into account. And what I'm saying is that you have other vegan options which are also low carbohydrate options of high quality proteins. Yes. And these things do work, which is why I'm presenting them to you. If they did not work, and like here's another example I can give. You do realize that there are vegan bodybuilders. You're aware of that? There are vegan athletes who perform extraordinary feats of strength. Like there's a guy who broke a world record by carrying 600 kgs on his back and walking for like 30 meters. So there are people who just do such things. They get their protein.
Then there is an argument. What may work for one may not work for the other.
That's why you will have to be a vegan and see what works for you. There are some people who say, you know what, I tried eating soy chunks, doesn't agree with me. So
how many, do you have a number how many athletes are vegan?
I mean,
roughly.
No, I can name a few. Like,
do you agree that the vegan athletes are lesser compared to the omnivores?
Yeah, because the general population of vegans in and of itself is lesser as opposed to other omnivores.
That's a logical argument.
We are a rarity in general. We are
so
like
if you take example of 10 to 15 athletes, I have an example of 84% vegans who turned back into non-vegans. So how does that make sense?
Sure. So for that, the argument I would give is this. First of all, when we say, unfortunately, the word vegan has been used too loosely, Shivang, I would say, because a vegan is someone who makes an ethical and moral commitment to no longer exploit animals. It's not necessarily a dietary shift, it's a psychological shift we take. We break that species barrier and say no more. So when someone breaks that barrier, I personally feel it's an irreversible one. Just like how I cannot right now say that racism is wrong and then tomorrow go and be a racist. I cannot go back right now because I'm not doing it from a nutritional perspective. I'm doing it from an ethical perspective. Second point I want to make is understand that unfortunately among the vegan community, Shivang, there is a lot of pseudoscience and there is a lot of misinformation being peddled online. A lot. Okay. I am one of the people who brings forward numbers and facts and wants to argue from a scientific perspective. There are some people who won't do that. There are some people within my community, unfortunately, who call themselves as raw vegans. Have you heard of this word called raw vegan? No, it's a fad diet where they say to you that apparently human beings are not meant to eat cooked foods. And that we have to eat only raw fruits and vegetables. And apparently if you eat that, all your diseases go bye-bye. And many people watch these so-called health gurus. They make weird... I have seen also with my own eyes. I don't have a study on this. I'm not saying the study you're mentioning is false. It's true. Every time I have seen someone say to me, I'm no longer a vegan, I ask them, why, what happened? I was on a 10-day juice cleanse. I didn't feel good. No Sherlock. Humans should not be on a 10-day juice cleanse. You should be eating whole foods, be it plant foods, or even you should take some kind of like a nutritional yeast. If you're meeting your nutritional requirements through other ways, you will get your nutrients. If they do something absurd because they believe in pseudoscience or because some health guru said something on the internet and then they revert back to eating meat and saying it works, what can I do? What can I even say? Which is why I am trying to educate people through facts. By the way, even this you can have a look at. Did you know vegans have to take supplements, by the way?
Yes, I do.
We have to take B12 and vitamin. And see, it only costs 8 rupees per day. That's not expensive. Everything I'm showing you, Shivang, by the way, is not expensive. I hope you can admit that.
I get that.
Go on. I think you want to make a point. Yeah.
So there is a study that was done on soya. So just as I mentioned the isoflavone hormone, right? So pertaining to that, it has been written, it isn't just babies, children and pregnant women we should be worried about. Adult males and women who are not pregnant are also vulnerable to the endocrine disrupting effects of isoflavones, that is phytoestrogens. The authors of a 2000 study concluded that while these phytoestrogens could have some beneficial effects on health, the supporting evidence that consumption of phytoestrogens is beneficial is indirect and inconsistent and illogical.
This is back in the year 2000, right?
2010.
2010. Okay, fine. So there are just 3 points I wanted to make while you're reading that, and I hope I remember to make all 3 of them. Number 1, you do realize that when it comes to scientific studies, there is a certain order to these things. Like, if I'll just see if I can find that.
Forms of study are you referring to?
The hierarchy of evidence, the quality of evidence we have. That is, we have observational data, we have experimental data, and then we have critical appraisals. That is meaning if the study you mentioned here happened to be, say, an observational study, but I can then quote a randomized control. You heard these words, randomized control trials and all this? Yeah. If I can hypothetically say quote a randomized control trials for which...
That would stand less on the...
an observational study would be lower than a randomized control trial. Okay, that's how it works. This is the order. If you want, you can just have a look. We don't have to go into detail on this. But basically, so I do not know the study you're quoting right now where it even falls on the scale number 1. Because if I had to defend my case for soy, which by the way is not something I want to do, because veganism actually doesn't have anything to do with soy. There are plenty of vegans that hate soy. They don't eat soy. You don't have to eat soy.
I know. But like most of the vegans I have heard
most
online,
of them eat soy. I eat soy.
Yeah, they thrive on soy.
We do. We thrive on soy. I've had my blood test done recently regarding thyroid issues and stuff. I'm absolutely fine. I happen to be fine. If someone eats soy and they get a blood test in 3 months and they see the thyroid is doing bad, don't eat soy. Eat something else that we vegans
and
eat.
Just as I mentioned, at the most basic level, soya fails to be a complete protein, being low in sulfur-containing amino acids such as methionine. It also interferes with protein digestion by the effect of its trypsin inhibitors. It is an anti-nutrient.
Okay. So that's where then I wanted to mention, in this particular study you mentioned, again, we don't know where it falls in the scale, but also what was the kind of soy product fed to the people in the experiment?
So it has been mentioned, they were fed with tofu, they were fed with shoyu style soy sauce, and tempeh has been also mentioned, miso, natto, high quality shoyu style soy sauce. It has been mentioned that I'll just read it out. Mineral absorption thanks to it also has phytic acid content.
Yeah, these are all anti-nutrients. Yes.
These are anti-nutrients. Although phytic acid can be broken down via fermentation, only tempeh is the only source where the
bacteria eats up the phytic acid.
Phytic acid can be broken down. Else all of the soy products, they cannot do that.
They cannot break them down entirely, and that goes for any other dal or legume that we eat. But you can break them down enough to not make a difference. Like, here's the argument I want to make. See, on this scale right now, if you were to look at the best protein we have, without question, it's whey protein isolate. It's the protein we take from cow's milk, right? That's the best one we have. Now, since this is the best one we have, Shivang, would you make a case saying that we have to make sure we get all of our protein from whey protein isolate, else we're going to be protein deficient? Would that be a right statement or a wrong statement? In terms of quality, yes, it is supreme. But that doesn't mean that it has to be the only one. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
So again, what I'm saying to you is that in case you do have problems with soy, because I am an animal rights advocate, I am not a soy farmer defender.
I know. I just made the point.
But my point is that,
right.
let's just say, suppose soy, you personally feel that soy is bad. I am of the opposing opinion, and I at the moment have brought studies to defend veganism, but not to defend soy. Okay. So if you want to make the claim saying that soy is unhealthy, I would contest that. I don't have studies.
I'm not saying that it is unhealthy.
It has these issues. You're saying it has these issues.
It has some issues. I'm not saying it is unhealthy, but I am saying that an animal-based diet, be it chicken, is far more beneficial to the human body than soy.
So that's again where I disagree, because once again, these are like some really, really high qualities. This is the top 2. Okay, they are like, when it comes to the pyramids picture I showed you, this is the highest tier of evidence that we human beings have right now. Okay, like this is creme de la creme. It doesn't get any better than this for us right now. And in that regard, they do say that a well-planned plant-based diet that has been supplemented with vitamin D and vitamin B12 can produce as optimum results as you omnivores can. That is the argument I wish to make. I'm not saying it's better.
Okay. So the first statement that, and I'll read it: associations between plants-based dietary patterns and risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and mortality. A systematic review and meta-analysis. So this would be regarding that if you eat an animal-based diet, then you will get cancer.
That is not the. No. What they were saying is that
what was mentioned in these studies?
Sure. So, if you look at the first one, what they proved in that was that by apparently going from what they called as a standard American diet, which is a crap diet, we know, into a whole food plant-based diet, would potentially show these kind of reductions. It does not, I'm by no means making the statement that eating meat is unhealthy. That you have never seen me make that statement. That's not what I'm claiming at all. The second one is it's a position paper that is showing that they wrote here vegetarian dietary patterns, but in this study, they were very well accounted for vegans as well in a very proper systematic way. And that's how they came to the conclusion that this can work. An appropriately planned plant-based diet can work if if someone chooses to go on a juice cleanse, they can't. But if you choose to make sure you sprinkle some nutritional yeast now and then in your food, you eat a wide variety of foods. This is the thing. The different categories for vegans are grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, fruits, and vegetables. You eat from these categories. You use some fortified nutritional yeast. You consume, if you don't like soy, eat seitan and dal. Or if you don't mind soy, just eat some tofu or some other soy chunks here and there. You kind of pretty much got it. And take your B12 and vitamin D supplements.
Okay.
And this is not expensive. Yeah.
So you must be aware about oxalate compounds found in plants.
That is correct.
So when you try to get your other minerals like calcium, like if you want to get that, you have to have some plant-based diet. If you ignore the dairy product, that is milk. So it has oxalate compound. And what happens when oxalate combines with calcium?
Your body doesn't absorb it just as well.
Calcium oxalate. And calcium oxalate eventually leads to kidney stones.
Right.
So you are getting kidney stones with that. And regarding this study that you just mentioned, let me read it again.
It's a study. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
That was over here.
So type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer. Maybe it is linked to the red meat.
Could be.
See, the Western countries eat more of red meat, and red meat has been seen as a carcinogen. I agree to it.
I think processed meat is seen as a carcinogen.
Red and processed both.
Red meat, not necessarily. Just only processed meat is a type.
I read the WHO guideline, red and processed meat. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong in that. But that was due to overconsumption. If you overconsume even a plant-based diet, then you will suffer from some consequences. Just as I mentioned, calcium oxalate, kidney stones. So it depends on the consumption that we are making regarding to our body. See, in USA, for example, WHO did this research considering Western nations because the meat consumption is very, very high. They also did consider that junk food consumption is very, very high in those countries as well. Because when you have red meat, you basically or most of the times couple it with a junk. So that also contributes to your overall well-being of your body.
All right.
So at the end, it depends on the consumption, on the level of consumption that you are making pertaining to this diet. Even if you consume a lot of plant-based diet, you will suffer from consequences. Even if you consume a lot of meat, you will suffer from consequences.
Yeah, then again, please, I hope you will agree that I never made a case against meat in terms of health. I never once came to the argument.
You gave me a paper.
That paper is one of the best papers we have showing that a plant-based diet works. That's why I showed that. But they focused on something else there. But
okay, like there's written the risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, etc. So I thought that you're trying to make a counterclaim that a non-veg diet promotes it.
No, never. I'm not making that statement because that would be a foolish one to make. And regarding calcium, I would like for you to just have a look at that. This vegan sources of calcium. You just mentioned the word calcium right now, right? So when you're talking about oxalates and when you're talking about other things, which is why we have to check what options we have. In fact, in that the video I said where I did a 90-minute, video explaining how to become vegan in India, you can check. I have been so honest that I've mentioned, if you are someone who suffers from kidney stones, you have to check with your doctor before consuming soya chunks, because soya chunks sometimes are very high in oxalates.
Yes.
But of course, if you are, then that's how, if you are someone in your family who someone has had kidney stones before, or if you have had kidney stones, you should avoid soy chunks. And not only soy chunks, even foods like amla, foods like spinach, foods like certain other green vegetables like beet greens and amaranth greens, you have to avoid them because they're high in oxalates. But again, those are not the only sources, Shivang. See, here's the thing. Vegan, when I say vegan or plant-based, okay, let's say this. Let's say that this table here represents all the food options that we have right now as human beings to choose from to get our nutrition. And let's say there's a smaller circumference I draw in the middle and saying those are the vegan options. I am saying I will work within those options to meet my nutritional need. You get the point?
Yeah,
like
I get
for
it.
example, just pass me that thing. I could, let's say, for example, you're saying these green vegetables will cause kidney stones. Okay, don't eat them. Do you know what is ragi millet?
You ate them in one of the videos,
Yes,
if I remember.
yes. So ragi millet is super high in calcium. Okay, it's a grain, but happens to be extremely high in calcium. So for just one time a
What
day,
about the bioavailability content?
it's good. These are good.
Okay.
The thing is that I'm saying instead of eating rice or instead of eating chapati for once a day, we could just shift from that to ragi instead just once and see how much calcium you get per 100 grams. Like, it's insanely high. Then again, if you're all right with consuming soy foods, if you eat something like tofu once again, insanely high amounts of calcium. Do you know sesame seeds, black ones, the thin seeds? The black, doesn't work for the white ones, only the black ones. They are also insanely high in calcium. There's no oxalate here. Okay. So I made a recipe where I've taken 100 grams of black sesame seeds, taken like 50 to 80 grams of de-seeded dates, put them in a grinder, crush them together, roll them up into laddus, and I just eat 2 laddus a day, and that gives me 220 milligrams of calcium. A serving of tofu adds another 200 milligrams of calcium. See,
Whatever you...
it all adds up by the end of the day.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want to add up, like you have to add up various sort of things in order to make your vitamins fulfilled, your proteins
Yes, I have
fulfilled.
to eat a well-planned plant-based diet. You're right.
Without a well-planned diet, I'm getting served 100 grams of chicken. I'm getting everything that I can get from 5 plant-based sources.
You are right. At this point in time, it makes far more sense in terms of convenience to consume the chicken, which is why my entire argument is based on morals and ethics. I am saying, however, please, Shivang, choose to... I can give you an informational video where you can learn all these nuances, where how a vegan has unbiasedly told you both the pros and the cons. From that selection, please pick, because let's give the chicken also, let's leave them alone. That's my only argument. My only argument is for ethics and morality for the animals. There's nothing
I know. Like, just as I said in my opening statement, basic argument is morality. This nutritional
only
POV,
argument. It's the only
carbon footprint, you just give to defend the premise, right?
Actually, as I told you, I don't even bring up the environmental argument. And
I'm saying in general.
in general, some vegans do, and many
But
vegans...
just as I mentioned in my closing statement, again, we are going there. We're just shifting the focus from large guys to the small guys.
Yeah, and if I were to right now try to kill someone and you were to suppose advise me not to, if I were to say to you, but Shivang, you pay taxes and your taxpayer money was used that day to do this in some other country, blah, blah, blah.
That's a false equivalence that we are making. Again.
This is a false equivalence then how? Because I am asking you to be accountable for something where it's possible for you to jump out of the system and just choose something else instead. Whereas when it comes to the other things you're talking about, I can't jump out of that system.
Why?
I'll die. What do I eat then, Shivang?
You are persuading people to go vegan. What if I persuade you to become a non-vegan?
But then I'm telling you, Shivang, by being a non-vegan, I have to exploit animals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to exploit animals. But I find that to be immoral.
Listen to me.
Going back to philosophy, okay.
Okay, yeah, but let's take it. Let's take it for the one last time.
Okay.
So if I were to say that animal has been, let's take an example. I as a person is very fond of jalebis. Do you know jalebis?
I know what jalebis
So
are, yeah.
I go to a sweet shop and I buy a pack of jalebis. So instead of giving me fresh jalebis, the shopkeeper gives me a pack of stale jalebis and I suffer from food poisoning. Okay. Now what remedies do I have? Either I can file a suit against that specific owner, or should I go to every sweet shop and say that no, this has happened with this shop? Then everyone should stop eating jalebis. The analogy that I'm trying to make here is, even if exploitation is happening at some scale or at some farms, they should be stopped. But where exploitation isn't happening, then I see no reason to stop eating meat or consuming dairy products.
I don't necessarily agree with your analogy. The reason being is you gave an example where someone made the jalebi and the customer came and bought it and then they got sick. A similar analogy would be someone went and bought and ate meat and they became sick. How does you becoming sick equivalent to the animal being exploited?
I just made this analogy regarding to that specific shopkeeper. Like, I suffered from poisoning, so I should go to everyone and say that no, don't eat jalebis, they are harmful for health. Or
no, but that would be an illogical statement, right?
I don't think so.
How would it be? Because that particular shop made some error in their production, which is what led to you being sick. Some contamination happened. But you can also make jalebis without contamination. But you cannot produce meat, dairy and eggs without exploiting animals, right? So
how, like, if I'm from a ranching family, then if I am producing the milk, if I'm not producing the milk, sorry, if I am taking out the milk, if I am taking out the milk from the cow, I don't think that counts as an exploitation.
You don't think it, which is why I keep telling you, replace the cow there with a human being and it will make sense.
Again, we go back to the social contract theory. We have the rights, the animal doesn't.
Mention in social contract, right, bro? Like I told that it's not only based on utility, it's also based on the intrinsic value.
Intrinsic value.
Yeah, and I'm saying utility is not an issue.
If you keep cows and human beings on the same pedestal, then there is no argument pertaining to that.
We're not asking you to keep them necessarily on the same pedestal, just not lower than your taste buds or convenience is what we're saying.
See, taste buds, like you say that we kill them for taste.
Come on. We all eat meat, dairy and eggs for taste, right? Come on. Yeah.
So to you, taste is a luxury?
I don't know, but it's a sensory, it's a sense for me. It's a sensory organ for me.
I think taste is both a luxury and a necessity to live in this world. Like, everything is not based on mere survivorship, Arvind.
I agree. Therefore,
right. See, if everything was based on mere survivorship, then we wouldn't be sitting here in a fully air-conditioned room.
Right.
Giving GHG emissions and etc. etc.
Right.
So that doesn't stop me. If I see taste as a luxury to me, then I should not stop, consuming food products, because even if it is some sort of luxury to someone, it is a necessity for me because I want to enjoy my life.
Yeah, but enjoyment is different from. I'm not telling you that I say your non-vegan options are tastier in comparison. I'm just being honest and saying, of course, from a biological perspective, we humans are wired to eat these products and we will secrete more dopamine in our brain when we consume these products. I'm just saying, on the rung of taste, plant-based options would be comparatively less tastier than the animal-based ones. But your taste buds change, they adapt. Like, I was a nutcase when it came to eating meat, man.
I did so. The podcast.
The fact that today I am a vegan and an animal rights activist, this is not what I aspire to be in life. This is the last thing I wanted to become in life. Who on earth wants to do what I do? It's more like, yes, in the beginning it was hard because I missed that fried chicken taste. But guess what? You get over it. And once you no longer give that stimulus to your brain, it kind of forgets it. And you begin appreciating and enjoying the other things you do have. So it's not like if you become vegan, you will become all depressed. And it's like, in the beginning, yes, it's just like quitting smoking or drinking. In the beginning, you have
those withdrawal syndrome.
You will have those. You will, especially if you like them so much, you will have them. And I will go as far as saying that meat eating is an addiction. Dude, it's addictive, man. Meat and cheese especially. Oh my God, deadly combination. Meat and cheese are a deadly combination.
I never eat meat and cheese.
Together, you don't eat like wraps and stuff. I used to eat so many chicken wraps, I can't even count with cheese. Double cheese on mine always. Any pizza I order, double cheese with cheese in the crust. That's how I used to eat. And when I first stopped, it was insanely hard. I'm not denying that. It took me 6 months to overcome. But I did choose to go through that period of discomfort and overcome it, because as someone who's approaching this issue with empathy, I feel that whatever discomfort I will go through pales in comparison to the discomfort that the chicken or the cow or the pig goes through. So that's why I made the leap to become a vegan. And again, when you're saying your taste matters to you, I'm saying to you, awesome, Shivang, I respect that your taste matters to you. But then again, if the difference between plant-based taste and animal-based taste, if we were able to somehow calculate it, say it came to like 20%, difference, 20% tastier. My friend, the torture that we put them through, the unbelievable suffering that we put them through just for the 20% taste pleasure is madness. And again, taste is a sensory pleasure. Okay. There are other sensory pleasures in this world. I cannot exploit someone's body to get pleasure to mine when that individual is not consenting in it.
That's like, there the question comes about the necessity. See, I'm not aware, is there any fully vegan country?
Absolutely not. Never has been.
So if non-veganism or non-vegetarian would have been a flaw, there must have been some sort of big mass movement to make a country or make a certain sect of society move towards.
That's what I'm trying to do. But see, here's the thing. You have to understand that one needs to require, I hope you'll agree with this, an immense amount of mental strength and integrity to push forward a movement like this and to question society. It's what I am doing and many other vegan activists do. We are coming up now. Our ancestors then in that regard, you did not fight for this. As far as I know in this country, many vegetarians who are, again, has nothing to do with veganism, who are vegetarian, they did it because of spiritual reasons or religious reasons. And they always say, I personally choose not to eat because it affects my karma positively or some statement like that.
Well, that like the meat eating related to the religious scriptures is dependent on the geography.
That too. But in our country, in our country. Yeah, and they just go and they meditate and do these things. It has never been like a social justice movement. No one has ever said, no, I stand up for the chickens. I stand up for the fish. I stand for the pigs. They haven't said that. They said, don't eat that. Your karma is better. I think that's a very different message from what we vegans are advocating. Right. So
that is a different. There is no religious framework.
At all in veganism. So it's an ethical framework. So in that regard, that's why it hasn't happened so far. It is happening right now. And since you do bring up cruelty, I think you did have some more points you wanted to talk about.
I have. I'll talk.
And you do want to address them?
I will. But there is one thing I'd like to say. I saw in one of your videos where you were interviewing some college students. You did mention that you are an atheist. You must be a believer in science.
Yeah, would it be right to call me a believer? I look at the facts and I accept them.
Like if you do not agree to one thing, then you will agree to the other.
I subscribe to science. Yes, I subscribe to science.
But during the course of my preparation, I went through Ayurveda. I went through every of the science that prescribes diet to humans. None of the sciences have mentioned that vegan diet is beneficial. They have spoken against it. Even Ayurveda has spoken about dairy products, even meat. But nothing about veganism. They are strictly against veganism. Even science is against veganism. So that's...
Wait. By science right now, you're talking about like the studies I'm referring to.
See, you have given me 5 to 6 studies or 7 to 8 studies. I have also studies done via various human-centric studies or experimental studies done on animals. So there is no middle ground that we are trying to find here. You are giving me studies, I am giving you the facts.
Yeah. But what I am saying is that, again, this I would contest as indisputable. Maybe myself not being from the science field, I will not be able to go into the nuance and the nitty-gritty and explain to you exactly how they structured the study, how many people participate. Like maybe I wouldn't be. I am one of those guys who can probably just read the abstract and understand to a more or less. I don't know how you are.
What's the basic premise?
I don't have that knowledge. Maybe if I were to bring a scientist, they could probably defend the point better. So you can say I'm maybe making an appeal to authority right now, but I want to say that there are authority and medical figures who also very much agree to the fact that I want to make my words proper, a well-planned plant-based diet can be just as optimal as an omnivorous one. Yours might be more convenient in this modern day setup. You might say by eating, just thinking this one shot, this one bite, I get those nutrients for which you have to combine different things by fortified nutritional yeast, even though it's not expensive when it comes to the amount I eat per day, all these kind of things, you would be right. But that is the so-called quote-unquote inconvenience that I am saying that I will go through, because the alternative would be to engage in animal exploitation. And I am making the case that animal exploitation is immoral, and I'm trying to say that you too, even though factually you are right about the statements you make regarding meat and its nutritive properties, you could also still choose this. You can choose is my only argument. What else can I say?
You are saying that, and I'm again countering it. Animal deaths happen in...
we can't go back there, bro. I think we both did.
We did. So I don't think there is a middle ground that we are trying to find here to have a solution to all of this. Because even if I switch to a vegan diet, I'll be contributing to crop deaths at a larger scale. So how does it make me more morally upper on the pedestal than a...
But why are we... We don't have to go to pedestals. It's just about recognizing...
How does it make a difference if I am killing organisms here as well? How does it make a difference? That I'm trying to understand from the beginning of the podcast.
Sure, because like I told you, there are certain things that right now at the moment you can't do anything for. At the moment we can't account for it. I'm not denying it, right? At the moment, we can't account for it, Shivang. So once we reach a point where we can account for it and try to and stop those as well, we will definitely move forward and try to minimize them. Where we can minimize, we will minimize. Where we can 100% stop, we will 100% stop. What is and there's a difference between another human being or an animal initiating aggression towards us and then us defending ourselves versus us right now breeding someone into existence for the sole purpose of exploiting and killing them. Those are the bifurcations that I am drawing here.
Okay. We have already talked about
We've
this.
been over this. Yeah, pretty much. And do you want to ask anything else regarding nutrition? Is there any other particular point you want to make? I can see clearly we don't agree on so many things. Yeah, but you are making a case for yourself. However, I am still of the strong opinion that I am providing evidence and logic for my side. The audience watching can pick and choose what they wish to take from this. Yeah.
Okay. So are we at the end of the
Pretty
podcast?
much we are reaching the end. We have, by the way, if you didn't know, spoken for almost 3 hours. You are actually now probably the longest podcast so far in this series.
How would you rate it on 10? How has the podcast has been?
If I were to talk about you as a speaker, you speak very well. You are very confident. You are very well informed, and you put forward your points really well. Again, I don't know why you asked me of this. I'm like no one to rate this stuff. Since you asked me, I'm saying
Because you have been a part of so many debates and so many colleges, and you hold a much better experience than me.
Yeah, but again, see, for me, I don't look at it. I did not come into this with the mindset of if you are getting experience from
I'm
this,
just
means awesome.
complimenting you for your experience.
I don't know, but what I'm saying is that when I approach be it a college or even this current project I'm working on, you do realize that the mindset I'm coming to here is not necessarily to improve my skills per se or anything. It is to show to the opposition that what they are saying as a justification to continue taking part in the exploitation of animals is wrong. So for me, if I were to rate this entire debate on it being a debate and how the quality of it, I leave that to the audience whether they find this entertaining or not. We'll know depending on how many views we get, obviously. But what more can I say?
Of course, the audience would abuse me because you have the fan following.
You trust me, if it goes bigger, everyone will start coming in.
Like when you did post my photo on Instagram, people in my DMs were crazy. They were calling me and all.
How did they even know who you are? Did I tag you?
No. I did comment on the post. So they got to know that I am
one of the participants.
One of the participant that is debating here. So I was accused of so many things.
You have to understand that I'm not saying that's nice to obviously go around calling people that, but you have to understand that we vegans see a lot of messed up stuff happening to animals. We have seen a lot of violence and people who do.
Even vegetarians were targeting me. I am fighting for their cause as well because they consume dairy products.
They are non-vegans, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, something you wanted to mention?
So there was a anti-nutrient lectin. You know about lectin?
Yeah, they're all come under anti-nutrient.
So there was a experimented US study that found that the edible parts of 29 of 28 foods tested, common salad, common salad ingredients, fresh fruits, roasted nuts.
Salad ingredients.
Salad ingredients.
Okay.
Fresh fruits, roasted nuts, and processed cereals are found to possess significant lectin-like activity. The study's authors concluded that dietary exposure to lectins is widespread, and shortage of excess of lectin can interfere with your brain function.
Okay.
And kidney beans are touted as a good source of iron of those eating plant-based diet. Am I correct? Kidney beans?
Not necessarily. If you want me to talk about the best iron source we have is cumin seeds. Jeera seeds.
Okay, so let's refute this.
Okay. If in the video I mentioned, I told people if you are worried about iron deficiency, take like 2 teaspoons of whole jeera seeds, put them in boiling water, boil them nicely, strain that water, jeera water, right? We drink that jeera water, and then when you have time, just put that jeera in your mouth and chew it. And while you're eating it, also eat like a slice of orange. Your iron needs for the day are set in just that one thing.
Okay.
So
there is one doctor that is a dietitian as well, Dr. Gundry's program for patients who wish to alleviate or eradicate certain sort of symptoms involving brain malfunction comprises list of acceptable and unacceptable foods. His just say no list of lectin containing foods includes pasta, rice, bread, flours, cereal, sugar, legumes, chickpeas, soy protein, all beans, all lentils, many seeds, fruit, and tomatoes.
Okay. So again, this is the reason I think this is a problem when two people who are both not too experienced in the medical field start pulling out information and going case by case, because I don't think you will, I'm not sure, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you will have the exact knowledge to defend that case you're bringing forth, nor will I have the exact knowledge
Same.
but then again, what we're doing right now
we are just debating on whatever research papers we have read pertaining to that issue.
Yeah, but dude, if we were to right now go online, I'm pretty sure I can find some paper that says that drinking minute amounts of alcohol is beneficial.
For him.
Yeah. So I think, look, here's the thing. I have to be very honest here. I am not a nutritionist, not trained in it. And of course, if anybody wants to take any advice from me...
I'm also skinny fit.
But my point is that if you want to take any kind of advice, you can always please approach a nutritionist or your healthcare provider. Okay, I'm not saying I am any of that. But if you were to right now bring up independent studies, we again don't know on which quality of the hierarchy of the spectrum they fall on. Maybe you're providing great studies, maybe you're providing bad studies. We both don't know that stuff. So what I want to say is this. I have enough knowledge about plant-based nutrition to make the argument that whatever nutrient right now that you're getting on an omnivorous diet, I can tell you a way to get that through a plant or synthetic means without having to break your wallet. And you will also be getting, if you go and take a blood test, you will be fine. There is no problem in your body. We have long-term research showing that. That's why I told the first 2 points.
But there were many examples touted in UK and US where this vegan craze began. Many of the people, when they did their blood test, they were found lacking on so many vitamins, namely B12,
yes.
D2, D3,
exactly.
zinc, and vitamin A as well.
Right.
Why was this? Because everyone knows what they should eat.
Not necessarily. I told you, there's a lot
So 84% vegans don't know what to eat, being a vegan.
That's what I'm telling you. First of all, even calling them vegan is something that I would personally not completely agree with, because it is an ethical decision we make. Someone now say, unfortunately, vegans also have the many of these organizations, which I'm not a big fan of, say that Virat Kohli is vegan. He's not. Okay.
For 35 years, he has been a non-veg eater.
Yeah. He's vegan. Therefore, you should also become vegan. This is what they make the statement. Now, some fan will say, hey, Virat is vegan, no, I'm vegan. So for the next 20 days, he goes around eating something like crap, and then he feels like crap, and then he quits means. Is he really a vegan? Do we really make that as a... when they...
So, for example, if you are, if you try to persuade me, and I am now of the view that I'll turn vegan from tomorrow, wouldn't that make me a vegan then?
Yeah, of course. But it matters as to why you're making this decision, right? If you're making it because Virat Kohli happens to be vegan, I would not know whether
that is a fallacy.
Yeah.
That is a fallacy.
If you were to say to me, hey, you know what? Yeah, I understand what's happening to animals right now, and therefore I want to be vegan, I think that's a fair statement. But now the question is, okay, you know what not to eat. But how do you know what to eat? You go to YouTube, you go to the internet and look at the amount of pseudoscientific nonsense there. The video that I made, it took me 5.5 months to make. It only has 40,000 views. People spout nonsense. Drink this herbal juice, mix with water and drink twice before going to bed. And now they are the ones who rake in the millions. So unfortunately, the guy with the data, a guy is able to provide the data, show you in front of your eyes what all it is and how much it costs, the breakdown, everything. But people have to be willing to learn. You can see, you are making a change in your life right now. And if you're making a big change, which also involves food and your biology, you have to now learn. And you have to learn from the right source. And I would argue that I am a good source to learn from, because I base my information from the science and not my feelings and not on anything else. Not some propaganda just to win you over. Because I did not make some statement like, oh, you will become unhealthy if you eat meat. I didn't say that. So it is unfortunate, Shivang, that many people do it as a fad. It's a fad, The vegan fad came into trend, the keto trend, the vegan trend, the gluten-free trend, one of those things. So it's unfortunate that, however, such an important message that is tied to the exploitation of animals is becoming a trend. And people like yourself do look at us like, why didn't it work? And of course it didn't work, because we don't even know why those people decided to suddenly identify as vegans. And because how can you say I have values where I will respect animals going forward, not exploit them, and suddenly a year later be like, yeah, animals. How does that work, right? It actually doesn't work, right? You have to give a proper reasoning. And they say, no, I became ill, I fell ill. Okay, what did you eat? Did you take a B12 supplement? What's a B12 supplement? Where do I even begin? So yes, we have to give people proper education, and that's what I'm trying to do. So would you be right to point to the statistics? Yeah, you'd be right. And all I can say it's unfortunate that people are neither given the right reasons to become a vegan, nor the right education as to what to start eating to get their nutrients. And I am trying to break that by doing it.
Educating more people by
that's the only way at the moment. You have to raise awareness to a very high degree.
Okay, fair enough.
So I guess we both are pretty much pooped out at this point.
Yeah.
It's been 3 hours. So how about this? Do you have any closing lines you want to give? And I'll give my own. And I guess after that, no need to respond to just close because it'll just go on forever.
Yeah, go back and we'll just be going back and forth like a pendulum.
Fair enough. You want to start first or shall I start?
You start.
So my argument would be that for this entire debate, Shivang has raised many concerns and issues. I find the vast majority of them to be fair. I find the vast majority of them to be actually logical, the statements he's saying, because he's stating facts. However, the conclusion that he then draws from these statements is where I disagree. Where he then says, look, you vegans are not perfect. You vegans still take part in this. Therefore, I will continue being a non-vegan instead of being like, okay, there are problems here. Even as we move towards a vegan world, there still will be problems. Let's work on it together and fix it rather than being like, aha, you're doing it, so don't. And even though we don't have a choice at the moment, therefore I'm doing it the same thing. That's the one thing I disagree on. Regarding nutrition, what we spoke, I will make the statement that soy chunks, tofu and tempeh, we have enough evidence to show that they are high quality sources of protein, and 1 or 2 servings of them make a wonderful addition to your lifestyle and diet, and you could easily replace your meat and dairy consumption with those products and live very healthy. But then again, if you don't want to eat soy, you don't have to. Soy has nothing to do with veganism. It's just an option. Apart from that, I would request people to please, who are interested in becoming vegan, to check out my video titled The Ultimate Guide to Veganism in India, where without pseudoscience, I've gone into detail for 90 minutes, breaking down from nutrition to price points to different options available to India to what to eat if you're traveling outside. If you watch that video, you will know how to be a vegan in India. All I can say to people is please have an open mind, be willing to learn, and please have some empathy in your heart for these creatures, because trust me, a knife in my throat is just as harmful and just as painful as a knife in Shivang's throat or a cow's throat or a chicken's throat. And those of us who have a choice have to choose the ethical option. I'm done.
So my closing statement would be, just as I mentioned in my opening statement, morality as aesthetic criteria. We as human beings have to indulge in some sort of cruelty to have our own needs, have our own fulfillments. Even if I go vegan tomorrow, I'll be doing same as killings, same as murders, or even more than that, as I see in animal husbandry or animal-based diet, be it getting milk from the cow or consuming meat from the animal-based industry. So I'd just like to say this. Yeah, exploitation, unnecessary exploitation must be stopped. But where it is the need, one should not preach or one should not persuade the other people to switch to other diet just because he's of the view that it is more morally superior and it is not so much on the murder scale. Because I have also mentioned the studies that do mention that animal deaths do happen at a large scale at the plant-based when we resort to plant-based agriculture. And regarding the nutritionist diet, I'll stay on the convenient part. Non-veg diet or non-vegan diet per se is more convenient to the human beings, more on the taste buds, and more bioavailable. You can get more from the animal-based food, and we have been doing this from the dawn of time. So that would be my closing statement in this regard.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Shivang, for your time and for coming to this podcast.
Thank you.